Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Outers podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday, which means, of course, feedback stuff is about to happen. If you left feedback, here's where we respond to it. Feedback stuff, you can leave it in the show notes. Okay, that's the easiest way to see how to get in touch with us so you can be heard and get your opinion out there. Okay, we give our opinions. We are fielding your opinions. Also, today's a big day, because the official weapon of the show is
Poacher.
Oh, okay. You got you good. You're getting good. And the unofficial sport,
Volleyball.
and bullet ball extreme. But today's a big day because it's the anniversary of the podcast.
Woo!
It's our podiversary.
Yes, 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years ago, we sat down for the first time and recorded this thing 3 times.
I'm about to record this. It felt like 10.
Yeah.
It felt like 45 trips to Best Buy.
Bought 2 new computers from Best Buy that day because we had to buy one, return it, and get another one because the sound card was broke. And we recorded it with Mike. I literally learned how to podcast that day and how to hook something up to put it on an RSS feed. I learned everything pretty much trial and error that day.
Ooh.
So that you got our first ever episode in 2014 called The Love Cast.
Yeah, it's a whole lot simpler now. Like all the tools and all you got to do is record straight from your phone. None of that shit existed. Like you was out there like the people who had to know how to code for their MySpace pages.
Yeah, the number one, The Love Cast. It's 40 minutes and 59 seconds. And it sounds totally different than what you're hearing now.
It does. We had no soundboard. We had no music.
We did have music.
Oh, in the background, but like
we used to start with music. We play a song. This was before you could get like the this is before we knew anything about copyright law and shit.
That's true too.
We were just playing whole fucking songs.
Nobody knew. And when I meant music, I meant like soundboard.
Yeah, we didn't have a soundboard. We put the microphone on our desktop with desktop speakers, and we would play music through the speakers.
That's how we played voicemails.
And that's how you heard us. That's how you heard voicemails. We would have guests. We would play them.
That bitch like a campfire.
When we had online guests.
Oh, online.
When we had online guests, we would play Skype through our speakers on our desktop next to the microphone, and we would sit there and record with
it. Some fish. There's all kinds of gross shit in there.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what you call it.
That thing comes out the river and it starts killing
oh my
people.
Gosh, some people had some nasty deaths in this movie.
Yeah, they ripping off arms. They're like just body parts flying everywhere. It's awesome. And it doesn't look like straight to DVD or low budget like you would think. So
who are these people?
Who are you?
That was when we did movie reviews and stuff on the show. We did our first episode. We do a movie review for Avatar. The host,
the first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
The host, which was what we're talking about here, which was a dope ass movie. Exiled and Deliverance TV. Like we were just out here doing whatever.
We was just out here, and on top of that, it's one of those days too where you sit back and think what's hilarious now because of what everything has kind of morphed into. I remember the first episode we had like a list of shit we would not talk about. That's what we tell people. I was like, you don't never know what your show gonna grow into. It was like we ain't talk about politics. We literally had a whole ass list. Now we like fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, so happy podiversary to us. Happy podiversary, baby.
You too, baby.
And shout out
I didn't think I was gonna be here.
If there's any fans that are day ones that like there's a few of y'all that are day ones that still listen, if you're out there, we appreciate you. I know Shirley Wong was a day one, like
yeah, always writing in, always be like, I'm here. If it ain't nothing but 10 of us, I am one of the 10.
Yep. So people always say, anyway, I'm listen, the people loved us and we appreciate it.
I mean, go ahead and talk. I mean,
no, I don't feel like talking all day just to be talking. But what I was gonna say, people always say that thing about like if you ain't got if so and so got any haters, then I'm one. If they only got one hater, it's me. And if I'm dead, if they got no haters in me and I died, there's people, I'm saying there's people that give us that opposite energy, and I just want to thank them for that. But we got to get into the show. Let's talk about the people that went to our website and gave us money, that donated.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who ties and black fingertips.
That's right. New podiversary, new, I don't know, monetary. It don't rhyme. Zach from the Living Corporate Podcast, Lawrence C, thank you very much. Preston Team Dro, aka Slang of Ages Podcast, Dostry J, Tanisha G, Celeste Vaughn B, Mariano, Adam S, Jason F, and lastly Tyrone M. Call him. Thank you everybody that took the time out to donate to the show. It keeps us afloat. It makes it work. It shows you appreciate us, and we thank you. All right, 5-star reviews. We got, I think, a couple new ones. If not, I'm reading one again because I just don't remember reading it.
Don't care.
But here we. Oh no, it is new. It is new. Okay.
Yeah, I'm about to say I don't mind repeats.
Well, it's the new year, so I forget what the date was last Saturday. So anyway, don't worry about that. The best show around from Survey Says, who says this show is hilarious. Rod and Karen are down-to-earth people who keep it real and have grown a great community through their podcasts, live shows, and mailing Christmas cards to fans. That's right. You know you want something else in your mailbox besides regret and scams.
Mm-hmm. Regret and scam.
Right. When you like something other than a flyer that just says, when you like some mail that's actually addressed to you for a change, it's not to the current resident.
Come on.
To the last person that lived there that got scammed.
And it ain't a bill.
Listen to this show so you can learn, laugh, and grow with this awesome show. Don't forget to tip. Thank you, Survey Says.
Thank you.
From the United States of America. Also from the United States of America is Coriani B, who says, need to laugh? Listen now. For over 10 years, this podcast has had me cracking up. Not only does this married couple show the Black community love 24/7, they also bring humor and inclusion to their discussions, thought-provoking, dynamic, and fun. Listen now, with love and admiration, Coriani. Oh wait, it's Corianzi. Okay, Corianzi. Wait, Corianis. Okay, Corianis. Corianis. We have some art that you made for us. It's still sitting in the other room, and I got a little art cove.
Yeah, we have like a cove, and so we've had stuff that people have sent us over the years.
Yeah,
and we like hang it up in there, and so we have some beautiful stuff. And
yeah,
I be bragging on y'all like y'all my kids. I'm like, yes, our fans did this.
Yeah, I love
all y'all.
I was framing, that print that we got like last week or so. Mm-hmm. I gotta get another frame though, because the frame I got, I don't know how to hang it. But yeah, I was framing some art, and I was just looking around at some of the stuff people have sent us over the years that we have hanging up in the house.
Beautiful.
And that's what serendipitous moment. But yeah, Coriani's art inspires keeping your life together consulting. So Google that if y'all need to get y'all life together. Okay.
Thank you.
And so that's it for the reviews and for the donations. Let's get into the people and the comments that they left on the website. Let me play a little ditty for them though.
Psycho.
Music.
I'm a sucker for some horns.
Oh, and I love a good horn. No matter what is on, a horn come in the background, I'm hooked.
All right, let's talk about the comments that you left on our website. Starting, of course, with our feedback episode 2829, Soul of a Printer. One of the worst things you can ever call anybody.
Come on, ain't it though? This is insulting.
Apia says, I'm so glad that you appreciate the meanness of the insult soul of a printer. I was very happy when I came up with it. We have more successful women now, and people are not sure who they supposed to date. In my opinion, whoever they want. But somehow they should find a similarly successful man, and this is hard when this woman is so high on the top. So should she stay alone and pay for the price for her success with it? I'm against this. And somehow when a woman is successful in something, she should also be super hot and put as much time into her appearance as in her other work, or as much as an Instagram model does whose job is being hot and nothing else. I respect this, but it takes time you can only spend once. I'm not even giving specific examples because I think Simone is very pretty, as is her husband. It should be okay for a woman who's a super successful athlete, for example, or a scientist or a businesswoman to look okay and date a man who is very hot, if that is what she wants and who has such a great career as she does. If he is also into the arrangement, why not? It's fine when men do it. When we were teenagers, a friend of mine, I'm still friends with her today, said, I'm happy with the level of beauty I'm at. I wouldn't wish for more. This would only create more attention for the wrong reasons. At that time, I didn't get it, but this was pretty smart. It's good to have developed other skills. And then she said, we both today, and there's a link to Instagram. Oh, her and her friend. Okay. All right. Oh. So we'll show the world you and your friends. Since you sent it, I imagine you're okay with us showing everybody. But that's her and her friends, still cool to this day. Day ones, you love to see it. Okay. Shout out to it. Yeah, I mean, so this is the problem with all these conversations. People are mixing macro and micro, and
yeah, because they're two different things.
And it just kicks everybody's ass. The dating stuff is at once extremely personal and subjective.
Yes.
And at the same time, extremely the way that the world is set up with patriarchy and all these different things, misogyny and whatnot, is extremely, impersonal. So then we look at people's interpersonal singular relationships and go, why doesn't that check the boxes of all the macro causes I'm a part of? And if it doesn't, we try to eviscerate it. The real problem is no relationship checks all those boxes.
No, they do
not. Period.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how well you think the relationship is, whatever. If you were to know every single moment in detail of somebody's relationship, you're going to find something. And the reason I know this is because all of y'all's relationships is the same way. People be in denial, but a big part of this whole conversation about Simone has been about people fronting in the first place.
Yes.
It's been about people being triggered and people wanting this perfect thing. Anytime one of these celebrities comes out and exposes any level of I don't fit every stereotype, we don't actually know how to handle it. We say we want to normalize certain stuff, but we actually do not. And so this is why I say I don't feel like I know these celebrities. I try not to project too much onto them,
right?
Because I think people deserve freedom and autonomy. And most of the people talking, no offense, no one gives a fuck about them.
Right.
So they get to have their picture with their man who's not perfect. We not going on his page to see that he's saying a perfect thing all the time. We've never sat in their house and had dinner with them and he made some joke that we were like, ooh, that doesn't fit the feminist agenda. We've never seen her and watched her laugh and roll her eyes and go, oh, Jonathan or whatever the fuck. We don't have those moments. But what those people are telling you is that they've had, their triggers are saying, I've had some type of moment with somebody and I've decided that Jonathan Owens and Simone Biles are those people. And I won't even get into like what I consider to be kind of a blatant disrespect of Simone Biles at this point, because she chose this man. She telling people it's not what y'all think it is. And people that have seen snippets, do not know her life like that at all, are like, it is what we say it is. And he's a narcissist and you're a fucking bird. And if you defend him, you like, I hope your relationship sours and fucks up. And he's gonna cheat on you and bring a baby home and shit. And it's such projection. I've low key just been like muting people and just like, let me stay away. Cause like, if you're on this a month later, it's you. It's not them, cause they really ain't really giving us much. To think about how much content was created off of a lot of these people that one saw a couple minutes snippet or like saw her response or something, and it's been weeks. that says a lot. So that's what I'm looking at. And I don't like everything you said is cool, but also everything you said could apply a different way to a different person, and it hits different people differently and all this shit.
Right.
And the last thing I'll say is, there's also something that we have to examine, I think, or people should self-examine. There's this thing that people want the patriarchy and the chivalry when they want it, how they want it, but not the rest of it.
Right.
And unfortunately, patriarchy is not that much of an a la carte thing as far as society is concerned. The macro, not the micro.
Right.
In the micro, we do it all the time. So I don't know why people are trying to make Simone and her relationship out to be like this we've never seen nothing. This is such abuse. I don't even know why we're going to hyperbole with it, because we know that this is something everyone has to choose their battles and how they deal with it in their lives, period. So, you know, you may want the door open for you, and you may want them filling up your gas tank and paying for the meals and cutting the grass and da. But you also may be like, I don't want to be the one to cook. Like, you know what I'm saying? As a woman, that's not something I believe in, but I do believe in this nigga paying the rent or whatever, you know what? And if that's your choice, that's your choice. Not everyone need to live up to like what the bell hooks doctrine is, or what I think people pick and choose. That choice is the real freedom. And as long as it's consensual and not like abusive, I don't really know what the problem is. And I'm not going to just assume abuse and stuff like that off of some clip. I need more than that. And also, these people are alive and well and speak for themselves. So if that person says it's abusive, I'm much more likely to be like, okay, I hear what you're saying, as opposed to some people on the internet deciding that for that person. I can't treat y'all stuff as facts, because I've seen how often you're wrong.
Yeah, and a lot of times, particularly with the internet, it goes wherever the rivers and the flows take them. So you're praising her when she's out there flipping with the twisties and having a hard time and winning all the gold medals. It's Black Girl Magic. It's We Love You. It's, hey girl, beat them white women asses. However people feel. You know, I'm just saying what I see on the internet. And then when it comes to this, it's like, no. You know, so it's like, a lot of people are projecting off of past relationships and things that they've been through. And like you say, relationships are complicated, and nobody wants to admit that shit is complicated, it's gray, it's messy. Nobody's relationship, no one's relationship lives up to these ridiculous standards.
I think also a lot of these people can't relate to Simone's mentality because they losers. You know, like she's a winner. She's the best in the world. I don't think she does not see any threat in her man thinking he's the shit.
Right.
She just doesn't. And I don't like, other people have seen men that think they're the shit, and they're just, you know, and they think about like how egomaniacal they were, or how much of a narcissist they were, or like, I don't care if you have to lie to the world, which is how I think most people, this is the part of it that I'm like, this is what really triggered y'all. He didn't lie to the world about how they got together.
Right.
You needed him to lie. But because he told his truth, now it has to be a lie. Because you don't want to live in this world where like she was the one that pursued him and he really didn't know how big a deal she was until they got together. And you don't want to believe that. You need it to be a different way, because your reality on the internet is more important than
the real reality.
Their truth. And especially without him doing like, you know, the thing that almost all the wife guys do, like, my wife is the greatest thing, you know, if anything, I put her through so much to even be with me, and I'm so thankful every day. It's like, there's no, I remember someone on Twitter a long time ago, this is like 2010, asked this thing like, how come men don't know how to compliment women, blah, 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 right? And so all these different men took the bait and start quote tweeting this thing or replying to it with their version of like, this is how you compliment your woman. And I watched every single one be dissected by people in bad faith who eventually, there was not a right way. And and for the record, there was no woman who suggested something that was like, and this is the right way. There was always something wrong, because a lot of it's projection. A lot of it's based on trust and history with each other.
Right.
And so if you don't have that with the person, it really doesn't matter what they say. If they say, I love her because I wake up every morning and I choose her every morning to be with her and to stay with her and blah, blah, blah. There'll be somebody else that'll be like, you don't sound thanks. So you choose her. She don't choose you. You don't, like there's a way, oh, I love her so much because she's so pretty. Oh, because she's pretty. That's so it's all physical. It's all okay. I love her because she's a. Oh, so it's not because of how she looks. It's because so you are you attracted to her? If it's bad faith, it's bad faith. And bad faith is pretty much what gender wars are about.
Yes, it is.
It's pretty much what the issues between men and women, especially within the Black community, are based on. Is that there is no trust there. So when you see a relationship that has trust, you'll never know how to take it because you're not ever going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they trust each other and that they are okay with that. It's like I said, it's me and Karen making jokes with each other that I would never make in front of y'all because y'all don't know about the trust we have in here. It's stuff that we say to each other where we're like, because that would never, ever happen in a million years. That's hilarious,
Yes, so it's funny to us.
Yeah, but like if like the one night something was happening here and I was like, oh no, Karen want to play her video game in the bedroom. And I was like, fine, then I'll leave. I'm going up the street to Club Onyx, or whatever, which is a strip club.
Yeah.
And I can make that joke because I'm gonna go in the living room and watch TV.
And I know this.
I've always done that, and I've never gone to Club Onyx.
No.
And I'm not mad and all that shit.
Yeah.
But if her life was informed by some other dude that did do weird shit like that, I don't want to say whatever, that did manipulative shit like that or whatever, that might be a trigger in a way. It's like, man, fuck Rod. And if y'all saw just that snippet or I told y'all that story out of context and y'all didn't listen to hundreds of hours of us on this podcast, there's people that would have been like, man, fuck Rod. He's a piece of shit. What kind of joke is that? He gonna go to the strip club just because she want to play video games? It's a trust thing that, and I think people can't possibly understand that because they've had their trust violated and their triggers are different. And I'm coming from a place of security, meaning that the relationships in my life for the most part have been pretty solid. So I'm filling in the gaps with security on my projection of like, yeah, they seem fine to me unless they tell me otherwise.
Right.
So that's how I've been approaching it. But I think a lot of people need to figure out why they need to lie to kick it. Y'all people that do rollouts of their man. How many people got a man, but you can't even put his picture on the gram yet?
Yeah, we seeing shoulder blades, we seeing elbows, we seeing feet.
Or you on vacation, somebody holding the camera, sis. But like that's the world we live in, one of projection and insecurity, and no one wants to show us the process. They want to show us the before and the after pic. They don't want to show us the struggle. They don't want to show us the fails. They want to show us the success. And so a lot of people aren't ready for that. We haven't normalized that, but that is the real reality that we're supposed to be trying to live in. And all this internet shit is fake in that way, in that very few people show the process and the guts of it and the imperfections of it. And that's what Simone and Jonathan did. That's the true violation of everything, is they showed us the guts. They showed us something real. They showed us something that wasn't just for show. And they feel comfortable doing that. Possibly partially because they are public athletes. And I don't know if y'all know how to their skill sets and jobs work. There's nothing more brutally honest than their professions.
Right.
Because you don't get there's no lying to kick it. We all saw the camera. If you got burned on that pass play, we all saw Jonathan Owens get burned. If Simone falls on one of her flips, we all see it. If it's not tight, the judges are right there. When she's practicing, there's probably no one in the world harder on herself than her. So like them living in like an honesty that to me did not seem mean, but did seem openly honest.
Right.
I think that's just the way of life for them. So unless I hear or see otherwise, I don't need to project onto it.
I do not.
And I'm not dating either one of them, so it's not my problem.
Right.
Jew Booty says, yo, this reminds me, I haven't had chicken paprikash in a long time. So good. The good paprika comes in a tin, usually some Hungarian brand. I agree. Most of the paprika seem bland and are just a color. Yeah, the smoky thing do taste like something. I got to give them that. And I'll have to look into this chicken paprikash episode recipe. I don't know how to make it, but I can find one. Tanya W42 says, I did vote yes on the New Year's Eve poll, but I have to quantify it. I'm uptown away from the mayhem and went out to dinner at 5 p.m. at a place in walking distance. Then went back home for champagne and great music documentary, Immediate Family. Warner is mostly white except for Steve Jordan, who is a current drummer for the Rolling Stones, and then went to sleep before midnight. Perfect. Yeah, I don't really watch a lot of music documentaries, so I haven't seen that one, probably won't, but I appreciate the suggestion. And it sounds like a pretty dope New Year's Eve.
For people out there that love documentaries, go check them out.
Miss Barnes says, I voted yes in the poll, but I do a 5K at the top of the year. The run walk starts at midnight when the ball drops. This year was a little tough. However, it was done. It's a nice start to my new year to do this 5K. Also, are you coming over to the Arby side, Rod? Did I hear that right in the replay? Praise EVE. I'm in. Yeah, man, I'm done. Y'all got it. Okay. I never said the food was nasty.
The roast beef was over.
But yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna try to stay off of shitting on Arby's. Even though, nothing has changed in my opinion about, how they're obviously grifting. I never said that the food was bad or the commercials were bad or anything like that. Just, they give 96% of their money to Republicans. You give $1 to Arby's, basically all of it go to Republicans. There you go. Hustle No Flow says, voted yes in the poll because I went to watch night service. Taylor Agnew says, 2024 is going to be another stellar year for the Black Outdoors brand. Had more I wanted to say, as y'all brought up some good stuff on Ray Rice and Black art, but I have to save that for another time. I'm just happy to be here and glad y'all rep the blackness the way y'all do. Love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see if there's any comments on YouTube for this episode. There are two. J Full says HP print is extortion. I agree. Suave P says maybe it's just me, but did nobody else seem to catch the sarcasm from Simone's husband when he was saying he was the catch and the pivot host playing it up as well? I thought it was sarcasm, which is why Simone and everyone else was laughing, but maybe I'm tripping. But even if he was being cheeky, it really isn't that serious. Gender wars has to stop. Yeah, so it could be sarcasm. I'm not gonna front. Because when I saw the clip and it was how they started the question was comedic, where the guy's like, how sexy red, he was like, they started talking, the two the light-skinned dude, that's the co-host, started talking to Jonathan Owens like, we both light-skinned brothers, and how did you pull Simone Biles? But even as a joke, to me, it's like banter and talk, because when he said, she pulled me, everybody's like, whoa, hold on now. Like, it was a funny vibe in the room. It's just once you go into the internet, motherfuckers really want to take it the worst way. And the clip they put out from the pivot kind of like, I saw how that clip was meant to promote the show in a way of like, whoa, he wild for this. I just don't think that Ryan Clark and them took the next step and thought, oh yeah, the internet will fucking destroy this clip because motherfuckers are miserable. I think they really thought everyone would look at it the way they did in the room, which is roll your eyes, laugh a little bit, and then you hear the story, how they got together, and you go, isn't that wild? And then you move on because
the internet got stuck, and some of them niggas still stuck.
Still
stuck. A month later.
Shout out to the snooze 30 days button. Okay, I've been working
on my best friend.
Okay, it's getting the workout plan. All right, let's look at the poll and that stuff. So the poll, did you go out on New Year's Eve? Yes or no? 23% of people did. 76% of people did not. We stayed in.
And I don't know, not for everybody, but once you cross a certain age, you like, nigga, no. Like, for a lot of people, once they get to a certain age, it's like, yeah, let me go ahead and put this at the house. I've
never been a go out on New Year's Eve person, no matter what age I was. So I can't even say.
Yeah. You've never been like that.
Yeah. So it's just not my thing. But for Spotify, 19% said yes, 80% said no. So it seemed like most of our audience stayed inside. And yeah, I think, like you said, age and all that stuff too.
Kids, a lot of times people have kids and shit. They were like, we can't be out
COVID.
Kids. Yes, they were like, I don't want to get sick. Right.
Yeah. A lot of reasons to stay in. Just listen to people shoot guns.
Shoot fireworks half the night, keep you up.
And then it was just Happy New Year was the Q&A. Happy New Year's, you and Karen, says Miss Barnes. Aaron says, regarding Simone Biles' discourse, I got accepted in the Raya from my friend who also got an invite, and we're just regular people with 9-to-5 jobs and a bunch of debt. It's not just for the celebrities. Yeah, I know, that's what I was trying to explain, but I think once shit gets to conspiratorial levels on the internet, they need certain things to be true in their argument. So all of a sudden it was, how could he not know who she was? They were on Raya, and you're like, because regular motherfuckers are on Raya too. Don't just because the app is using that as advertising doesn't make it true.
Right.
It's like saying everybody on Christian Mingle is Christian. And like that, there's no way they can verify that. But what Raya really means is you will verify your identity.
Yep.
M. Nicole says, Happy New Year. Raphael Harry says, Happy New Year from your multiversal Nexus Hustler cousin. Wishing the Black Autism Nation a great 2024. Now make sure to support my brand new coat now that we made peace with Arby's gang. Love you all. Alumni says, being sworn in on the 1st of the month. I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. See y'all at the Council Road. Congratulations. Yay. Kisha says, Happy New Year, homies. And Michelle says, Happy New Year's to y'all. All right. Let's go to the next episode. Which is social justice death penalty. We had JL Covan on this episode. And we got 6 comments. Appia says, thank you for doing the show in this time where most other podcasters are giving us a rerun at best. I don't need reruns. I could download the old episode on my own or nothing. Yeah, they need the rerun so they can still get the ads and the clicks and the download numbers. Because I know when we take a break, our downloads, like a lot of the stuff on your podcast host works in like, oh, what was your average last week? That's your new such and such. So they just try and keep y'all clicking on shit. That's all. 11 out of 10 stars for the work ethic. Thank you. I don't watch any sports ever because I don't care. Now I will turn it into a moral issue. I would so much love me some sports, but I'm afraid to support some abusers. So I made this heavy sacrifice and don't do it. Much like a gay Catholic priest who says he's unfortunately can't marry a woman because of God. Perfect. Yeah, I like to call that a faux cot.
Yeah, that's a faux cot because, child, most of everybody in life, if you dig in this, they're gonna do some type of thing that you ain't gonna like.
Yeah, but I love a faux cot. I love a faux cot.
Good faux cot.
I love when I'm already not fucking with something for whatever reasons, but normally no political reason, just I'm not into it. And then something bad happened, I'll be like, see, I was already on it.
I wouldn't support no way.
I've been told y'all that such and such was whack or whatever. And then it'd be like, well, why come you didn't really? I'm like, oh, I just don't watch. It's like if if the Real Housewives did something fucked up, and I just don't generally watch reality TV, but they do something real fucked up, and then I'll be like, see, that's why I don't watch it. And I'm like, that ain't why I don't watch it. But I'm gonna take the faux cot, Trump women wearing a shirt, he can grab my pussy is disgusting, but also progress. Even if they are making fun of consent culture, they are perfectly executing it here. Now, if the grabbers could please only grab those who consent to it with a t-shirt, thank you, problem solved. Yeah. That's the problem. They don't want the ones that want it.
They want the ones that don't want it.
Right. Miss Barnes says, thanks for the stellar fucking with black people completely not fucked with. Outstanding. Thank you. Stack says, as I am typing this so I don't forget, but Karen, your point on how regular people can change around the hour and 25-minute mark of the episode can be complicated and welcome back into society versus celebrities can't be allowed to change. I was while listening because nigga, you was spitting. What?
Yeah, and maybe that's a big thing. I'm not above it. I have my flaws, and I'm in the matrix like everybody else, trying to navigate it the best I can. But at the same time, me personally, I don't put celebrities on pedestals like I see a lot of people do. They claim they don't, but your actions show otherwise. Because if you didn't, why are we so upset about Simone Biles? Why like there's shit that happens, and all of a sudden it's this personal connection and all this projection, like they're your family members, because technically you put them on a pedestal, and then when they do something wrong that you don't like, all of a sudden these feelings and these emotions connected to them based off of the music or the entertaining or whatever, it jumps out. And I know I probably can get caught up in it too, but because when it comes to celebrities, I'm like, okay, they're people too. And I've always looked at them as, hey, they're people too. So for me, everybody has their line on certain things. But to me, that's why I was like, okay, yeah, they fucked up. They've done fucked up shit. But I still enjoy their music. Like I can specifically draw a line. I don't want to be like, you fucked up. I cannot support nothing you do. Never, never, never again in life. Fuck you. You must die. I don't have that hard line for me personally. And truth be told, most things that you listen to, consume, eat, buy, if you dig down to it, someone did something fucked up. So are you going to sit somewhere and just not consume anything? No, you just pick and choose what you're going to deal with these people. There are people that could do miraculous and marvelous and great things in this world and still are fucked up human beings.
Yeah, and I think the reason that we allow regular people to do it is because people aren't jealous of regular people.
Correct.
And that's the hard part about discussing these things when it comes to sports, celebrity and stuff. A huge amount of what people carry in them is jealousy and envy of the fame and the money. And it can't be divorced really from their point of view because it colors their point of view. And so a lot of times people couch righteousness in those petty, jealous emotions. And it's, it's something that honestly, thank God for Twitter and the internet. That's what woke me up to it. Cause I still know to this day, so many people that were activists and ended up stop being activists, but their activism was mostly about self-promotion, envy and jealousy of the people that already were making a difference or whatever, who they felt were gatekeepers and stuff. And then it kind of goes away at a time when they realize, like, one, it's not what it's cracked up to be. And two, it might not be achievable, but the jealousy doesn't go away. It's something that I had to examine in myself. I remember we would spend a lot of this podcast, and sometimes we'd be talking about these shows that I don't even really fucking listen to, So it's like a viral clip of some fucked up thing from the Breakfast Club goes viral, and I'm on the show talking about it. And it's not because I truly thought like, it's not because I was like, well, actually, I'm not offended, but I'm just jealous. I really did I disagree with this. But at some point I was like, why am I giving them another segment and platform to get their views out there and telling people about this shit? And why do I give a fuck how many people listen to it or don't?
Right.
It really isn't my goddamn business. If people want to listen to us and then go listen to that, that's their right.
Right.
If I think they're doing bad work over there, that is my right to think they don't do good work. But it at the end of the day, it's not so important that I need to like constantly uplift their point to show you why I disagree with it. We can just talk about something on our show and we don't need to put what they said first. We just want to talk about how we feel about it. And that was a big moment for me. And I'm not, like I said, you pick and choose, like there's other times, but I wanted to make sure that anytime we are discussing somebody or something on this show that is not, at least for me, coming from a place of like envy or jealousy, because I actually find that to be very misleading. I think it feels like power. It feels like
it's an illusion,
like whatever, but like righteousness. But a lot of times, if some part of you deep down is like, because I should have that, then I think that's what fucks it all up. And so I think definitely with athletes and celebrities, we end up there most of the time because most people will be like, this is about my righteousness. It's like, is it about your righteousness? And you think, if I had that money, if I had that platform, here's how I would do it. And I deserve it. I'm better than them. The reason I don't have what they have is because I'm better than them. It's one of the reasons that Cat Williams interview resonated with so many people, because there's a big part of that Cat Williams interview that's mostly him saying, I just have too much integrity to be as big as these guys that y'all see as bigger than me. But if I had no integrity, of course I'd be where they are. If I was willing to suck dicks and wear dresses, I would be that's what they did. They must have done that. They're less of a man than me. They're like there's a lot of that implied. And that's why a lot of people relate to it, because a lot of people feel that way about life. Everyone ahead of them cheated, or they did something, or they have less integrity. And that's why they're the manager at the job. That's why they're the owner of the business. It's because they're less moral than you are. And I don't know, anybody that's ever worked directly with the public, like I have and Karen has, I don't have that high opinion of the general y'all. So I'm like, most people are pretty opportunistic and can be shitty if they get the right opportunity.
Agreed.
I'm not saying everyone, but enough of people are like that I don't think it's like only rich people and celebrities and athletes do that. I'm like, that's pretty much the general tenor of America.
Right, and also to kind of piggyback on what you're talking about, for a lot of these people who feel this way, and we've, because of the internet and people put so much of their life on there, I've seen people who you can see the things that they do and how a lot of their things are self-centered, and then when they quote unquote catch the car across the finish line and quote unquote get on the other side of it, for a lot of people, and I've seen it happen multiple times, their attitude changes. All of a sudden, the perspective is different. All of a sudden, they're not the one harassing in the justice of whatever their cause is. They're being harassed. And so all of a sudden, being harassed is different than the harassing to get there. And so all of a sudden is compassion and understanding and empathy. And all of a sudden, you know, their perspective change. You can get in a room with some of these people. You can see these people, like your view, quote unquote, changes. I've seen that happen a lot too.
Yeah, and like I always say, some of my favorite podcasts that I've ever listened to are podcasts that from people that have been like canceled, for lack of a better term. I love that. Because those people have seen both sides of it, because especially people that used to be very active in the like cancellation of other folks and stuff. I love that shit because it's like, yes, that is real truth. That is something that is actually real and happening. This thing where it wasn't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Right.
And I know a lot of people will, I don't even know what. I just think a lot of people will tune out people that got canceled and be like, yeah, that's what you get. And I'm always like, no, man, I kind of want to know.
Because their perspective is different.
Yeah, I kind of want to see this. I want to know and see like what the fuck is happening with that. Because, I remember after like, what was that shit called? Universal Fan Con. Black Girl Nerds podcast eventually came back. And when it came back, Jamie was on there kind of talking about that experience, and that platform used to be heavy on the like kind of canceling other people shit, like they were pretty heavy on the like, everybody's a bad person and just listen to us kind of shit. And so seeing that like unfold to where it's like, oh, now that I've been on one of these campaigns where people like target you and they say they make stuff up and they say you did stuff that you didn't do, or they say something that you did in the most like unkind possible definition of it,
arguing in bad faith. Yes.
And to see like that come full circle and somebody go, that did not feel good, and I gotta like look at how I talk about celebrities and directors and shit, because I don't necessarily know what's happening. I've been going out here acting like that. I love that kind of shit. So that's what I'm into. But yeah, I can't, like you said, hit the nail on the head, because we just, here's a sad part. We don't do that to each other in person, but I would argue we do that all the time to regular people now that we have social media.
I 100% agree with that, because, and my thing is this, and like you say, maybe because of my generation, we don't do that to people in their face, because they can put their motherfucking hands on you if you get to talking froggy and crazy and shit to them. They're like, nigga, what the fuck did you say? And people don't want to deal with real life interaction where they have to be responsible and accountable for the words that come out their motherfucking mouths.
All right, let's get to Sean, who says, once I have time, I'm going to have to work on a drawing concept that I've been thinking about for a while. This episode solidified in the style of My Hero Academia conceptualized image of J.L. Covan with a face that is half black and half white, clutching a microphone while being dragged down by tentacle chains labeled the J.L. curse. Conceptualized images of Rod, Transformer-esque concept, and Karen in robes with a third eye, blasting the chain, screaming, the blackout tips bump. And JL, onomatopoeic, some Japanese symbols. center top and My Hero-esque logo that reads My Comedian Academia. Now I just had, the sad part is JL will never get the reference because he don't watch anime. Now I just have to finish the semester to get time to put this picture together. I hope I could at least paint a mental image. Hopefully I could do justice to that image and put it together for y'all sometime by the end of January, early February. I didn't know you did art, man. That's dope. Unless one of my professional artists that listen to you, one of these professional artists that listen to you want to put it together. That's dope art. Yeah, we'll see, man. I can't wait to see it. EV says, I hope 2024 is kinder to JL. He deserves a big win. I don't even know what kind of JL looks like. Okay.
Man, I don't think JL does.
Yeah, like, is it no gigs and he can finally quit?
Like actually just quit and just go ahead and put the tombstone up and just walk away forever, like the end of a movie. You know how they had a trilogy, and at the end they be like, Batman's dead. We finally just say JL's career is dead, and he could just walk away into the sunset. But knowing JL, somebody gonna go dig it up, and we'll have JL again.
So I don't know what's happy for JL. What is it? The sweet release and relief of death coming to his comedy career, and then he goes and moves to Cleveland and there's a lawyer and just has a dog and the righteous GF and moves on? Or is it, you know, somehow his career blows up, you know, somebody sees, had blackface and goes, God damn, we've been sleeping on this man's whole life. I don't know. And the thing is, because JL generally trends towards misery, I don't know that they'll ever, the way I root for JL is not and then his issues will be solved and he'll see the world in a bright, happy, sunny place positively.
Nope.
I think that's impossible. So even when things are going great for JL, they're never going to quite be great enough because there's always something, and that's how his brain works. It's also where a lot of his comedy comes from.
Agreed. The name of the rain on your parade. It's always raining in JL's life.
Right. So I don't see it as like, I think one of the issues a lot of people have where either like being his friend or just talking to him about comedy, or, you know, fans of his show that write in and say stuff sometimes. One of the issues I think a lot of them, a recurrent issue I've seen over the years, is that there's this like penchant to give like platitudes and it's going to be okay and it's going to get better and da. And it's just a waste of time because one, it's not, even when it gets better, there's always something. And then two, JL needs to get that outlet to be able to be like, this is how I really feel about whatever I'm going through.
Right.
And so, you know, I know
that's the way his brain picks, and that's why works, and that's why I'm here.
So I remember I was talking to Justin one time, just in real life, hanging out outside. And he told me what he really appreciated about my friendship is that you don't have to fake it around me.
No,
and
you do not.
When he was talking, you know, because he was just talking about something that was going on that he just wasn't satisfied with. And I think that's something that, you know, for me, I feel like that's my default, but I understand why that's rare, because people are so filled with just like bullshit and platitudes, and we want things to be better, so we smooth things over, and we just kind of, if we don't talk about it, it's not happening. And I'll kind of, you know, as y'all can tell from the podcast, kind of fight hard to live in some type of semblance of reality, even when it's not, you know, gonna make me always feel the best.
Right.
And so, you know, that's how I deal with it. But what I'm saying is, even if it's kind of JL, he'll find a way to tell you why it's not kind. Like,
of course,
you know, it was always kinder 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember, like, one of the things he'll say now is like, you know, I was trimming down, I was doing this, my shoulders worked, and I'm like, yeah, but at the time when you were talking about that, you were like, nah, the real problem is this TikTok bullshit is fucking up my life. And why the fuck is this
algorithm? These people ain't funny.
Yeah, so like
JL.
So, you know, it'll always, I'm sure if you go all the way back to what he felt was his peak days of either college or right out of college, and you know, late night show, he'll if I had a time machine, I could see JL back then. there'll be some way that he's like, and this is what's fucking wrong. Like, it's where his comedy comes from. It's like a Larry David or something.
It's super strength.
It's like watching Curb and hoping there's like a happy ending where they figure it out. It's like, you don't get the show. Anyway.
You do not get the show.
Sean says, just a thought, if JL can get someone named Zack Snyder, spelled differently, to direct, quote unquote, the original shaky cam footage, people may think that it's an artistic choice. Leak a little bit of the footage and get an online campaign to release the Snyder cut.
Make it all dark and shit.
That's a great point, Sean. I was joking on the show, but I mean, I definitely thought about like that could have been the hook. Now, look, it probably would not have worked. Let's be honest. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers. Nothing's working for JL. So I think they should have put out the shaky cam version, act like it was the gimmick, and it's live. Be like, guys, this is groundbreaking stand-up. This is groundbreaking stand-up cinematography. We are going to bring you into the 4DX real life experience where when the crowd laughs, you at home will see shaking on the camera to let you know how fucking funny this guy is. It's the real bravery. We're putting out a special that you think it doesn't look professional, but it is actually light years ahead. And then, years later when other comedians steal the concept and it's Gerard Carmichael, but it only shakes a little bit because it's more like a type of laugh as opposed to uproarious laughter. Listen, I would have did that because I wouldn't have wanted to let go of the first special, but that's just me. All right, the poll. I'm sorry. Let me check comments on YouTube. See if we got any. None for this one, but let's check the poll. The poll on social justice death penalty was: have you ever gotten into a physical fight at work? Because we talked about that reverend coming in and whooping some ass at McDonald's. 97% no, but 2.6%, aka one person, yes. And if you check the polls on Spotify, 15% of y'all have gotten into a physical fight at work. 84% have not. 15% seem high, but wow. Oh my God. I should have asked y'all what the fuck happened.
Right? I've never got into a physical altercation at work. I've had times where people have got upset with me and, did things that I thought that was inappropriate and shit like this. And I am older now. And so now I just look at you, blink my eyes, and immediately leave and go to HR. Like, fuck that. Nope. The fuck you think you doing? When I was younger, didn't know no better, didn't know how HR worked. It's a little different. The fuck I'm going to lose my job for? Fuck you, bitch. I'm going to report on your ass.
I've never been in a physical altercation at work. I've worked with some assholes before, but just it never got to the point that it was gonna get physical. But I also was just kind of it's just ingrained in me to be like, you're at work, they're paying you not to do shit.
Right,
and
they're paying you
something that might have got somebody's ass whooped for free for $10 an hour might get them a pass because I got on this fucking apron and this goddamn name tag, and so you might can say something a little rude to me and I'm like, this motherfucker got attitude. I roll my eyes. But if we was like, walking down the street, I'd be like, who the fuck you think you talking to?
Agreed.
Yeah. Not a cooking oil anointing. Langston says the first fucking with black people story, I'm giving it a 0. That guy just a kid who made a mistake and it shouldn't ruin his bright future. I think he's talking about the folding chair, man. Ms. Barnes says some 336 Piedmont triad shit. I think she's talking about the dude with the chicken blessing. The fried grease blessing. Alani says, want to bless this chicken, oh Lord, of the Lord. Bless the chicken of the Lord. Key says, I'm screaming at y'all talking about Cornel West Patreon because he definitely hit me up on Twitter a while back asking for money to support an orphanage or something like that. Yeah, orphanage of his kids. Is that what he's calling child support? Right. Sean King, senior face ass. Damn. All right. Let's get to the next episode. But first, let me play a little music so we can put some put a little something in the collection plate. All right. Episode 2831, setting black people back in 2023. We got 6 comments. Jew Booty says, I always thought Doja Cat was some weird long form performance art piece, the Andy Kaufman of female rappers. Maybe she'll turn out to be that. I don't know. She's pretty talented at rapping on a objective level. So I think a lot of people are drawn in by that.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know what's up with that woman. I'm not much of a fan. I don't really listen to her shit like that. I don't really understand like 100% of why she keeps getting passes. But my whole life, all my favorite artists and all my least favorite artists been getting a pass in hip hop. Yes, so I don't find it to be so like, oh my God, how is it possible?
Yeah, I don't find no difference.
So anyway, I don't find it to be like a how is it possible situation. She just getting hers, and she won't be the last to kind of be like, I'm the artist that does a bunch of fucked up regressive shit and whatever.
And also people back to that shit. People pick and choose. If it's your favorite, Tupac, Biggie, like some of them, everybody get a pass. But if it's this quote unquote new generation,
yeah,
you don't have no compassion because you don't listen to that shit.
Yeah, and all these, and they're all kind of getting a pass on shit. It's whatever. Swabby P says, just wanted to come here and say y'all wrong for that Jonathan Majors drawing for the show art pick. Shaking my damn head. Happy New Year's. Abia says, I love that completely natural video of Jonathan Majors helping those girls make peace. Now do Israel and Palestine, Jonathan Majors. I believe in you. Maybe he can figure it out. Gina Gates says, Tim Scott's girlfriend is right up there with the Lizard Man and Bigfoot. They're still... There will be some grainy, blurry footage of her and claimed sightings. I think she was AI generated. Did that white lady robot that talks ever appear again after Tim Scott's girlfriend came on the scene?
No.
That's a good point. Yeah. What happened to that white lady robot that talks?
Intern, and we'll never see her again.
EVE says, I really hope this becomes an annual tradition again. I laughed and laughed. We may have taken some L's in 2023, but our victories were sweet as well. I think the Montgomery Brawl set us up for a decade. That will forever be a great moment in Black history. For real. Hustle No Flow says, regarding traditional food poll question, I usually eat it on New Year's Day, not New Year's Eve, but definitely had some greens and black-eyed peas and in with the other stuff. Let's see if there's any comments on YouTube for this one. One comment. Travis Kelce and Chris Evans need the beard to be great white men of color. Without the beard, they just cool white boys. Shrug emoji, says S. Carter. Right? They did lose something with them beards getting cut off.
Right? It ain't the same.
The poll for this episode was, did you eat the traditional New Year's Eve dinner? Yes, no, or I don't know what that is. So 8% of the audience does not know what that is.
I can see that.
Yeah. 68% did not eat it, and 24% did eat that traditional, like, superstitious meal, you know?
And I personally think, it's just me, a lot of it has to go with a lot of that tradition is being broke because, you know, Big Ma, great auntie, whoever used to have everybody come over their house, a lot of them have passed. You know, a lot of, you know, children, we kind of don't keep a lot of those traditions. And, you know, for a lot of us, it's not that quote unquote important to us. So I could see why the number has kind of went down over the years.
Well, we don't know that it went down. We don't know what the number used to be.
Oh,
it might have always been this percentage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe just being in the South, more people have a tendency to do it. Being in the South, being Black.
Right. But you also were younger.
True.
So somebody was doing it.
Yes.
So, like, if you're in the extended family of my Aunt Sharon, all those kids that would be your age back then, you know, they're now, they would be like, yeah, we had a traditional dinner. You see what I'm saying? So, like, we as adults that have choices about what we eat, because it was never a choice for me. It was always I was going down somebody's house. But now that I'm grown, I'm like, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah, and that goes back to my whole point.
No, you said, I think you're missing my point. You said the number has lowered. I'm saying, did it lower or did we get older? When we were kids or when we were younger and your mama was making that, was every aunt eating that? Was there cousins that were grown or siblings that were grown that was like, I'm not eating that shit? And we just never got to poll them.
Okay,
never,
okay,
you see what
okay,
I'm
okay.
saying?
I'm with you now. I was thinking the number was dropping because people and it's kind of we're on the same page. Like, yeah, people get old, people go, I'm not doing that.
It's You're saying it's dropping if you just look at like when I was 14 to when I'm 45, I eat it a lot less. Now I don't eat it.
Yeah,
and I'm saying the 14-year-olds now, I wonder if I don't know the answer. I'm just wondering if a function of that was someone else cooking dinner anyway. What were they cooking? Probably this shit. So that's why you eat this on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, is because that's who made it. You didn't make the shit.
Yeah, and you didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
so I think as people get older, like you say, the choice allows that, in my mind, allows that number to drop.
Yeah. As you get older, the number drops. But I just anyway, I'm repeating myself. All right, so
but I do understand what you're saying.
Like, I'm just wondering if like our demographic, of course, the poll number is gonna look like that, but
yeah, but you're not doing quote unquote everyone like this is a poll that the numbers could be going up or down. We don't know because we didn't poll.
I wonder if we poll kids, what it would look like.
Yeah, and what do kids consider a traditional?
No, the traditional, not what they consider. Okay. The pinto beans, the greens, the ones. Yeah. I also think you're right about region. Mm-hmm. I think if you're from the South, that is definitely the tradition. I can't speak for other places like that.
Most older people houses, and most people houses for Thanksgiving Eve, for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, this is gonna be the meal.
Yeah. So anyway, this is something interesting to talk about, to think about. But all right. So did you eat it? Like I said, 24% did, 68% did not, 8% don't even know what it is. And then for Spotify, 26%, 48% did not, 26% did, but 25% of them don't know where it is. So I guess that's where our non-traditional listeners are at.
Mm-hmm. Non-traditional people, they just wasn't raised up like that, or whatever the case may be, or their family just did that, wasn't the thing in their household.
That's what I mean by tradition.
Okay. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. Remember, this list was scientifically proven. Is the Q&A.
My brain over here, y'all. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm trying to make it make sense to me.
It's all good. Miss Barnes says, full circle moment from last week when I said you and Karen on my research. My point is proven. Roger PJ Williams says, in fact, checked by me, Dr. PJ pre-PhD. Keisha says, of course it was. Lisa says, I appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for sharing so much of your time with us over the holidays. Dr. Uzo says, we have the dinner, but on New Year's Day. And Coach Malik says, setting Black people back. I definitely missed this. So thank you. Mm-hmm. Glad y'all enjoyed that. And I will try, if we remember and everybody's here and everything's good, we'll be trying to make sure we do that next year.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
Keep it up. Let's go to the next episode, which of course would be setting white people back in 2023, because we got to follow it up. We got 7 comments on the website. Appia says, this is an episode I don't want to be number 1 on. Quick check. I can't call the police on anyone. The maximum amount of braids I ever wore were 2. I mostly listen to music with no lyrics, so no accidents possible here. Instead of slurs, I invent new insults that can only be used on any race. I should be fine. Uh-oh, that's what all the bad people say. Well, I mean, I think you'd have to do something pretty egregious to outdo all white people to be number 1 on the list. Like some pretty heavy hitters on there. I don't think you're in there. I'm not asking you to test it, but I don't think you have the range.
Yeah, don't shoot for the top 100. Please don't.
Shoe Booty says, I need to rage out on baking soda and vinegar combo real quick. The boiling baking soda works because of heat and abrasion. Everyone thinks that the bubbling action of combining baking soda and vinegar is some sort of magic cleaner element, but it's not. This might make it look like it lifts all the grime, but it's really just shoving an already loosened particles up to the surface and not doing any magic bubbling cleaning. Combining vinegar and baking soda neutralizes each other, and effectively what you get is fancy salt water. When all is said and done, that's it. Baking soda is good for cleaning because it deodorizes and is abrasive without being too scratchy. Vinegar is good for cleaning because it's acidic. They're great separately. They look effective together with the foaming, but it's not really doing anything. Well, that sounds very scientific, and I'm sure you know how it works more than I do. All I know is that shit cleaned my pan, and nothing
That's
else
all that
did.
matters.
And I had tried other shit. I tried boiling just water in that motherfucker. I tried scrubbing it. I tried sponges. But the only thing that worked was that shit. So they 1 for 1 over in this crib. Shoe Booty says, going for a 2 for comment on this one. Something about sports that makes me uncomfortable is a racial aspect, especially with like boxing and football. We know how a lot of white sports fans feel about black people, so it's always struck me as fucked up that they'll place bets and cheer on 2 black men fighting in the ring, for example, but at the same time not see them as actual people. I'm not sure if I'm articulating it right, the feelings of discomfort here, but the same with the football point you're making. They'll cheer on the players on their team, seeing them as theirs, with a sense of pride that comes with some twisted ownership, and then not value them as people doing a skilled job who deserve pay or who deserve equal rights even. Appia replies and says, and that's why I'm happy that I don't consume any sports. I do it exclusively for ethical reasons and was never different, and it's definitely not because I don't care.
Come on through, Focot.
Not even fussball, and that's unusual in Germany. I don't know what's happening in the sports unless a pop star starts dating a sporty or something like that. I think Shoe Booty, I don't remember when, but we had an episode on this show many years ago. I can't even name the title. I don't remember. But it was an episode where I talked about this epiphany I had, and I stopped watching college football because of it. And it wasn't a boycott. It just made me not feel good to watch it. So I just don't watch things that don't make me feel good.
Right.
And it was watching people, fans of the Tar Heels, my own, fan base, how they reacted to like a player that got like injured or something. And it was just so, I don't know if it's because the player was on the other team or what, but I just remember at the time feeling so like, oh, we don't root for the same shit.
No, we do not.
Like I root
for the kids.
Like I'm rooting for the team and I want the Tar Heels to win. I'm not a fucking weirdo.
Right.
But there's a bunch of shit that's just above that to me that is life shit. When you talking, and if you accept that these are real human beings and people, you don't react certain ways. So like if a guy gets injured on the other team, I'm never gonna be happy about that or cheer that on, because I'm like, yo, that's real. His whatever's hurt in him, he got a rehab and all this stuff. It gives your team a better chance of winning or whatever. But like, I'll still see that person as a person.
Right.
So I'm like, damn, my cousin Anthony played for Georgia Tech. We went to to Chapel Hill and we got to see them play there. And it was fun and I enjoyed it. And but in that day, I'm rooting for my cousin to do as fucking good as he can. If they would have whooped the Tar Heels ass, I wouldn't have gave a damn about that shit. Cause it's like, that's my flesh and blood, right? That's a real person to me. And I think a lot of times with blackness, I feel that way about a lot of players and a lot of stuff. So when I see their humanity disrespected, it just reminds me that there's an entitlement to whiteness that just is not able to consume sports in the way that I do. And with empathy and some level of like being able to put it in context of like still life. They just look at it as black people they don't respect playing a game that they were just too unlucky not to be able to play, and black people getting money they don't deserve is how a lot of them view this stuff. And they don't even realize that it's a race thing, because they will go, if you talk to them, most of them be like, no, it's just athletes. But you can tell in the way they talk that it's different for white athletes. It's just different. It's different for Tom Brady.
Even the way they talk about them and things like that. Like for me, this is one of the main reasons why, and I stopped decades ago. I do not listen to most traditional talk sports radio for that reason, because I could hear the dog whistling and the phone calls and the hoes, and that shit just drives me up the motherfucking wall, because I look at people, I look at them as human beings. And this is one reason why I don't get all pissy and upset. And I know some black people, are mad too. This is why I'm like, when a lot of these players are like, hey dog, I'm not playing in the major bowl. I am not playing in the, the motherfucking Bojangles Bowl, and it ain't gonna mean anything. I'm not gonna play in that bowl. I'm going to the pros, and people get pissy like they're selfish. When my thing is, hey, dog, they been playing for fucking Mickey Mouse coins. Like, no, they gonna get some real money. I would sit out too, because I look at them as human beings. I don't look at the university and the team larger than the individuals, because I see them as people.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge part of it for folks. So, I once I realized we were rooting for two different things, like, and this happened before Kaepernick and shit. It was just like, y'all, like, you'll sit in the stands and be upset that Black Lives Matter is in the end zone. That's because you don't see the people on the field as people,
right?
You see them as like things you bet on or something. Mm-hmm. And I was just never a fucking fan of that shit. It's just, I don't know. And I can't unsee it now. So but I don't boycott sports. I just really just look at it like this is the real reality of it.
Yep, and it's one of those things where you're in or you're out, and I don't judge you for being in, nor do I judge you for being out, because, well, like I said, back to the fundamental thing, most of the things we consume, particularly in America, is fucked up.
Yeah, I think also people, there's a lot of you're like, it's not, to me, it's not an in or out. It's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because it's just something in your life that can't hold up to these standards. It's
right.
Whoever you are, it's just, this is the world. You can't be morally pure and clean all the time. There's always going to be some bullshit that you holding back or dealing with, just based off of just, living in the world in America or whatever. So you're going to have to deal with your, let's say, so you don't fuck with sports, but you listen to James Brown. Okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
everybody got their lines, and the
that's what it is
for a person.
That's just what it is for you.
People are messy.
Mm-hmm. All right. Ramsey D. Jenkins says, I love this recap countdown. 5 stars. Number 1, Montgomery, Alabama, Sweet Tea. Brooklyn Shoe Babe says, you two have been on fire the last 2 weeks. I've been loving your countdowns and wrap ups. Setting black and white people back are classics. I only joined the Blackout Tips around early 2016, so this was a pleasant addiction to my ears. I'm not a gamer, but I really enjoy your top games of 2023. It keeps me somewhat relevant with the teens at work.
Yay!
EVE says, what a great episode. Something I think that's setting white people back is the Snyderverse tanking over and over again last year, particularly since the toxic fanboys seem to hold on to it in such high regard. The Flash in particular, that movie was ass. I hope it and Ezra Miller stays in 2023. That's an interesting addition. I think for me, I don't really consider I guess I shouldn't say I don't. I've never really thought about the fact that the Snyderverse stuff is kind of racially coded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just never thought about it before, because I mean, it is those same Gamergate types. So clearly, like, there's no way it's not something, you know what I mean? So it's a great point. But I just never associated with just like, and that's white people's thing. All right, let's see what the poll was. Do you like watching food videos on YouTube? 73% yes, 27% no. And on Spotify, 62% yes, 38% no. The comments on YouTube, I forgot to read. For this one is, regarding the Sackler family money talks of BS walk, says Paula. I hear you, Paula. Mm-hmm. Linda says, Rod and Karen, please make these lists an annual tradition. Both days of lists have been hilarious and factual. I was surprised with the number 1 choice, but it was perfect. The Montgomery River Brawl was so great. It made both days as it should. Thank you for doing the wrap up for us to 2023 for us. Thank you.
We enjoyed putting that list. We had a ball putting that list together.
Yeah. The poll, do you like watching food videos? Oh, I said the poll. Sorry. Q&A. Vinegar and baking soda is all you need. Okay. Let's see. We got, this Keenan says, where's that clip of the dude saying, I'm sorry, people think a white man can't enjoy Black History from. Yes. So
that's my clip. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So that clip is Darren Rovell. He's a sports reporter, and he was in Twitter Spaces discussing something, and black people started asking him some questions or whatever. And one of the things is that he collects MLK like memorabilia and stuff, like like he buys it and shit. So yeah, he does that, and he was questioned about it, and he starts making like a defense of himself, and
that's the quote.
People were using that speech to it was just funny, and so I saved the audio of it and I use it. I mostly only play it on Ballsy Sports, but it's the full audio is over a minute long. Like, I just think I played the 18-second one.
I'm sorry if people think that a white man can't enjoy Black history.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry if people think that a white man can't love Martin Luther King.
He was so indignant.
Yes, he was like, "What are y'all talking about?"
He was so indignant and still so white. It was so good.
It was hilarious.
Raphael says, it's science, and I believe in science as a multi-universal traveler. Terrence Howard needs to be introduced to this science because it makes sense, and I love it. Joyce says, I guess I'm the only black person that drinks charged lemonade from Panera. I mean, it's always one of y'all, we found
when you get superpowers, we'll know what happened.
We wasn't even looking for you, but we found you. Okay. And this one is just all number says, been telling people this for years, that vinegar and baking soda is all you need. All right, let's go to the last episode of the week, which was Naysayer Please. We got 9 comments on Naysayer Please. Let's see what we got here. We got Ann, who says, in case you haven't already figured it out, I'll be that person to explain the Nunez name. In Hispanic cultures, you take both your father's and mother's last name, her maiden name. So that guy's parents were both Nunez. The actress Sofia Vergara is actually Sofia Vergara. I also wanted to say that Arby's serves fish and chicken now. That's called diversify your customer base. Oh, we been on. When I was a child, they stuck to roast beef. Where's my conservative congressman with a law to prevent this abomination? And Appia says, thank you for this. Listen, it's not an abomination, and the conservative politicians aren't going to do anything because they're on the payroll of big Arby's, because Arby's gives them 96% of every dollar that they donate to politicians.
And thank you for the background knowledge. I did not know that. That's new information. I did not know it did your mother's and father's last name.
Appia says, I had COVID for the second time now. I was maximally vaccinated both times, and both times it was only 3 days. This time it was even milder. I had a stuffed nose and coughed one night. I wonder if something else will come up with like strong tiredness for 2 weeks like last time, but as per today, I'm fine. I hope now that I wrote it, it doesn't come back. So I lost my fear about it now, I think. Maybe a new variant could hit me harder. Who knows? But I hope I'm done with it for this season.
Just keep getting vaccinated.
Michael, sounds like Michael says, I totally agree with your point about people not doing their part, staying boosted against COVID. My husband and I asked a lot of our friends and family about it lately, and basically all of them admitted to not having gotten the latest booster. Even my dentist, who always wears a mask and has his staff do the same, recently admitted to me he hadn't gotten around to getting the latest COVID booster. All of these are people who can afford it and who are anti-vax. It's really baffling to me, but the stats show I'm the weird one for actually getting the shot.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, not that funny, it's just a pure inconvenience. They go, I have to go to the doctor. I have to go to the pharmacy. Like, for a lot of people, they're like, this is really disrupting my life. I have to make an appointment. And so for a lot of people, they go, if it's not something that's quote unquote simple and something that doesn't quote unquote alter my life or something I don't have to quote unquote think about, I'm just not going to do it.
Well, what's interesting is that the last few years, it has been simplified. And it's just like the flu shot, and people weren't really getting the flu shot that much back, so I think it's for a lot of people, they're just treating it that way. And unless it starts really killing people at the higher numbers,
right,
enough to make people really fearful, which I don't know what that number would be.
I don't either.
Because it's
no
not like
more.
no one's dying, but
Yep.
unless it starts killing like a lot of people very rapidly again, I don't think people are going to ever get vaccinated and stuff like that again.
Agreed.
Michael also goes on to say, as a trans person, one of the things that makes me so upset about the bans on gender affirming care for children is that these kids who access the care who are getting screwed over by these laws are the lucky ones who have affirming parents who take their needs seriously and get them into gender care clinics.
Right.
And these miserable bigot Republicans aren't content just screwing over their own trans kids, so they decide they have to fuck it up for the trans kids who actually have parents who care for them. These laws that ban gender affirming care for minors don't affect Republican parents' kids, since they are either in the closet at home or who get told they aren't really trans or that they can't transition by their bigoted parents. The laws are saying that even the parents who are doing what every major medical association says is medically necessary thing for their kids, supporting them through social and, if necessary, physical transition, can't do these things. Right, and this is from the Party of Freedom. As someone who didn't win in the supportive parent lottery, I came out as trans to my parents as an adult and was met with a death threat. Jesus Christ. It makes me so upset that the supportive parents are being prevented from helping their transgender kids. I agree with you totally. That's the thing. Like, they call themselves a Party of Freedom. They act like so many things are freedom of speech issues, including guns, running up on the government to overthrow the election, violence towards people, hate speech. Like, all of that's just freedom of speech. Freedom, First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights. But when people go, this is what I want to practice with my own body, my own sexuality. This is what I want to support my own child through.
Right.
All of a sudden, there's no freedom of speech. There's no right to your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. All of a sudden, these motherfuckers just turn into the town from Footloose.
No dancing in my town.
Shoe Booty says, looks like the same tactics can be used to discredit Claudine Gay's opposition as well. The wife of one of Gay's main detractors has been accused of similar plagiarism on a technicality. Yeah, I've seen that. Bill Ackman's wife, and I saw his tweets about it, and it's just ain't no fun when the rabbit got a gun. They've unleashed some bullshit, and I want to see if motherfuckers all just put they guns down and go back to like business as usual, or if this shit is gonna spawn out of control and it's gonna just take down anybody in academia, because of the definition of plagiarism that is being used is literally like not something that's ever been used before. It's like this common phrase was used in your book as it was in this book and other books and many books, because people say that all the time because that's just what's become common parlance, and they're like, plagiarism. Okay, can everyone stand up to the rigor of this? Because if not, I hope they do target. Like, if you're gonna keep playing games, then I hope the conservative people start losing people too, because it's fucking stupid.
Because if you're gonna burn the building, some people are like, let's burn the bitch down, then everybody gonna get burnt. You too. It ain't gonna be a one side fire.
And it's still weird because then like Claudine Gay is still a professor there,
right?
The woman from Penn is still a professor there.
Mm-hmm.
This person that they're targeting is a professor already. So what will plagiarism do? She gonna get demoted to teacher's assistant? Like, what's the rules? Mandrake says, as far as the Ivy League college presidents and gotcha questions, if you look at the full question and transcript, they set up the questions about genocide by prefacing them with the ridiculous premises. They first said that the definition of I think it's infantada, but he put intifada, or is it intifada? I don't know. Maybe I got it right. I got it wrong. Intifada is the genocide of the Jewish people, which is not. Then they asked what Harvard is doing to deal with students at Harvard calling for the extermination of Jewish students at Harvard. So the question was never, does your school condemn calls for genocide? Because the answer would have obviously been, of course, but they pretended that intifada is about genocide and that any support of Palestine is equated with exterminating the Jewish people. Of course, the answers they gave were terrible and they should have answered differently. But if you look at the preface and the build up to the question that was asked, you can see why the answer wasn't a clearly simple one. Yeah, that was what my point was, right? I was like, the premise was a setup.
Yes.
So that whatever answer they gave was going to piss off a lot of people.
It don't matter, right?
And they just needed to get them in a situation that pissed off enough people for the conservative people to be like, we should get this person fired. That's why it was complete setup the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a complete gotcha. No matter what their answer was, they was like, regardless of what you say, it is going to be the wrong answer. And a lot of this boils back to what we've been saying before, the good faith argument. They did not come in good faith, period. They set some shit up that wasn't real from the beginning, just so anything you say, it was just not going to be enough, and it was just going to cause a problem.
Mandrake says, as far as the Ivy League college presidents and the gotcha question, if you look at the full question and the trend, oh wait, I said this shit. The next one is EV. The most interesting thing about Cat Williams' interview is that everyone who has responded to him hasn't actually denied anything he said. Not one person is threatening to sue. Yeah, I mean, but he also is not threatening to sue the people that he said lied.
Right.
Also, there are people that are saying things that aren't true. Ice Cube came out, who isn't one of the people that Cat Williams went in on, but Ice Cube got interviewed yesterday and was like, we did offer Ricky Smiley that part as Santa. And then later Cat came in and auditioned and we thought Cat was better, and so Cat got it. Well, so right then Ricky Smiley wasn't lying. But that's not gonna take back anything, because I think we talked about this in pregame in depth. I kind of went more in on it. But I really just looked at that 2 hours and 47 minutes as a masterclass of crafting a narrative and constructing something almost like a stand-up special or something.
Yes.
Where he blends truth and lie and exaggeration and half-truths in a way that feeds the red meat to a crowd of people that kind of want to believe all these things about these people anyway.
Yes.
And people are pretty simple. So I don't know that people really believe that deep down if you examine it and start asking them questions like, so you really think Cedric the Entertainer was never funny? Or was it just that Cat Williams said Cedric the Entertainer is never funny while he was talking shit about him? And the charisma and delivery was so good, it became the new truth. You know, Kevin Hart's parts are all just parts Cat Williams turned down. Kevin Hart's never been funny. He just showed up. He's an industry plant, you know.
Right.
People only call industry plants the people they don't fuck with, by the way. No one's ever industry planted a motherfucker we like. It's just shit like that where you're like, I don't like, and I just think whether it's true or not isn't really gonna be the point. So I've seen people deny it. Ludacris came out with a rap saying, you know, I'm never in the Illuminati, it's the Lutinati, but like, also what he was accused of was patently fucking ridiculous. So, you know, I don't know, man. It just, I would like to leave it in like, this was a great 2 hours and 47 minutes of content, but I feel like people want to turn it into like a cause where I'm like, I don't think it's a cause.
No, it's not.
And I think Cat Williams is straight. Like he got his money. He has his fame. He's touring.
Him and everybody he's talked about.
He helps a lot of people.
Yes.
People love him within and without the comedy community. Liberal people that tend to be very restrictive on other comedians and what they can and can't say, and they always getting offended. They don't feel that way about Cat. Cat's up there kind of saying some fatphobic, homophobic type of stuff, but people find a way to say it's not punching down or it's okay. It's just when you like somebody and they're that good at their job, that's really the power of charisma and humor, is the ability to do that. I saw a comedian on Twitter being like, you know, all the greats never punch down, and I said, that's a lie.
Ain't that the truth?
We like them. We overlook the punch downs.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Murphy talking about gay people is definitely punching down.
Yes, it is.
Even back then, it wasn't gays above blacks. It was no, you calling people the F word and using it over and over. Yes, that is punching down. You know, people, you know, George Carlin has a bit, he says the N word in it. Yeah, that's never been like oh, thank God he's punching up. Like, when you're great and charismatic, and in the sacredness of either the stage or the content or whatever, we give people a pass. That's it. And that's what Cat is experiencing right now. And I think because we need to hold on the narrative so tightly, we need heroes and villains. We are not going to live in the complexity of the interview in a moment. We want to simply walk around and go, everything he said, he's spitting the truth. And all these niggas ain't never been shit. And it's like, they're probably complicated too.
Yes, like I said, people are messy. Like, that's a fucking slogan. Most people are, including people, everybody, no matter who, and most people live in the gray. But internet says black, white, the end.
Yeah, and so like I said, we'll see. some people have refuted the shit, and then some people have just kind of acted like they above it. I think the brilliance of it really also is that there's no way people can really win. I think he set them in checkmate. Because I've seen multiple types of responses. You got Cedric the Entertainer basically saying like it's all bullshit and that one joke ain't make me. And if we see each other in person, you're not gonna beat me up or whatever the fuck you said on that show, which was another thing. So like, but people are like, look at this whack ass response. Where's the jokes, nigga? Make some okay, cool. Ludacris responds with a rap. So the whole like do your art to respond to it. Nigga, this ain't don't give a fuck about this rap. You think that's good? So now you're not supposed to do that. Steve Harvey's ignoring it. Now it must be true. He ain't say nothing. Okay. Kevin Hart was on NBA, like a broadcast on ESPN where him and his boys do they sit around and watch the NBA and they do their own commentary. They did 2 minutes of like kind of riffing about Cat Williams and the amount of like stuff he said that was clearly embellished or made up, and and it wasn't like on a stage or whatever, but it was like this is part of his job, and he's using this 2 minutes to be like, y'all really believe this ridiculous shit, and it was just like, oh, Cat say he dropped so and so off at the court tonight. Cat say he played 92 games of basketball and only lost 2. He said he the one that dunked on LeBron James. So like they were just making jokes, and I already saw like lame, whack. Oh, that's your response. This ain't even funny. You proving him right. Tiffany Haddish says, I'm not mad at him. He said what he said, although he does kind of look like Charleston White in this interview. Lame, never been funny. You just proved him right. The point being, he set that shit up. There's no response that's gonna work.
Nope.
There's no response. People just want like apologies or some shit. And I don't know why they're expecting that, because it seems he has beef with these people. 2, they have their own version of the story. Yeah, and not all that stuff was even proven wrong or right. So like Ricky Smiley has Ice Cube, who fucking wrote the movie, going, we did give him the part. So what's Ricky Smiley supposed to do? Apologize to Cat Williams, who brought up him having a dead child? No. But you want that because you want heroes and villains. He needs to be the hero, meaning all these people have to be the villain. So it is what it is, man. They all complicated people to me, and I just appreciate the dude for always giving fire ass interviews. But I have to be careful, or at least in my brain, I try to be careful because I feel like when we become prisoners of the moment, we lose focus on what's real, and we start saying shit that we don't actually believe and can't keep up with.
Right.
So I don't want to lose that. It's fine for other folks to lose that, but this is why I normally don't talk to a lot of other folks. That's why you don't see me interacting a lot on people's Facebooks and Twitters and shit, because I think a lot of people are such prisoners of the moment that any level of like big picture shit that you bring to the table is very inconvenient, and they're hostile towards it. So
of course,
I'm like, okay, he told nothing but the truth, and all these niggas should be ashamed of themselves. Cool, no problem. I'm staying out of it. Hustle No Flow says, on the comment about Cat and the local radio host Wanda, she actually is a comedian too. She just isn't as quick as Cat. She tried to hit some quick things at his expense. I remember we played it on the show. We ain't forgot. When he was only there to support Red Grant, a Red's local event. Actually, side note, Red played flag football with Shannon, but Cat was spraying so fast that his connection point didn't come up in the conversation. And on the COVID boosters, I got mine before homecoming season. I've known folks that caught the COVID the last 2 years at homecoming. I've also started selectively masking again when I feel like the place is going to be packed. I work remotely, but in conference calls, a lot of my coworkers have been coming up sick lately. Yeah, a lot of people getting sick, man. And comments on YouTube for this one. No comments on this one. You can tell we did coronavirus news segment though, because YouTube put a thing that said from information about COVID-19.
Yeah.
The poll: Cardi had sex with Offset on New Year's. Are you okay? Yes, no, or I don't know.
I'm okay.
Karen's okay. All right. Most of y'all are okay. 80% are okay. 3% are not okay. I appreciate your honesty. And 17% don't know if they're going to be okay. And that's cool. And on Spotify, 70% basically say yes, 10% say no, and like 20% say they don't know if they're okay. The Q&A was shame on a naysayer who tried to run game on a naysayer. Zalora says, okay, Spotify for podcasters is a banger ad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we recorded that the same time we did the list for setting black people and white people back.
Mm-hmm.
It was my idea this time. I was like, we should do a drug commercial. I don't know who hears the ads and who don't. I know if you listen on Spotify, I think you hear the ads. I don't know if y'all hear the ads if you don't listen on Spotify.
Right.
But we always try to have fun, make it a sketch, do something. And this one was like a drug commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And we came up with like a jingle and everything. It was fun. Lisa says, my husband and I...
Spotify for podcasters.
Lisa says, my husband and I are professors in college. Should I play it for them?
In case...
I don't know. Has everybody heard it in the chat? Do y'all hear it?
Some people do, some people don't.
Okay. Well, just in case, I guess people don't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and play it for y'all, just so y'all can know what it sounds like.
You're right.
Because I didn't even think about that till just now. There might be people that generally don't know what we're doing. So here we go. Here's the ad.
My doctor says I need to start a podcast, but it sounds super complicated.
My doctor said I need to earn some money so I can pay him and put a podcast in a place where it could be distributed everywhere and even earn money.
People say I talk too much and I need a place to record my podcast straight from my computer or phone.
And that's when I asked my doctor about video podcasts, and they said that's also available on Spotify. Spotify for podcasters.
Now that I'm doing Spotify for podcasters, I'm taking my podcasting game to a whole nother level with Q&A and poll.
Yeah, son, I'm absolutely getting money out here in these streets now with a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Spotify for podcasters. Spotify for podcasters cannot guarantee that you will get listenership, fan interaction, or make any money off of your podcast. There are already too many podcasts, and who needs another one about not going on dates at the Cheesecake Factory, High Value Man, or Marble Fatigue? Spotify for podcasters. So that was this month.
And they vary from month for month.
Yeah, every month is different.
Yeah, and depend on when you listen to it and things like that. I don't know if it updates them all, because sometimes people be like, I heard this one. Like, oh, that's an old one. So it just varies.
Oh, nah. I see what you're saying. But I think
you think when you do
I think it's whenever we change it, that's what you hear.
It updates it.
So whatever month you listen is what you'll hear. Because I don't think
Okay.
it's like embeds it in the old episode.
Okay.
So
That's
it
hilarious.
changes every month. I forget what December was. What was December?
What's going on, little kid? What do you want from Santa this year?
Santa, I want to do Spotify for podcasts. That's what I want for Christmas this year.
What? You just a little kid. Don't nobody want to hear what you got to say. And plus, you broke.
You look here, Santa. Don't call me broke. Don't call me broke now. But you know what? While we talking about it, I'm broke. You broke too. Why don't you got the technology, you and your else? But anyway, we're going to talk about Spotify for podcasts because that's what I want for Christmas. And with Spotify for podcasts, I can put my podcast out there through my phone and computer. And it could be anywhere that podcasts are heard.
And how you going to make money off of this?
I can make money by inserting commercials, and I make money from Spotify.
Okay, so I guess maybe next year you buy your own presents, you ungrateful little child.
No. No, we're not doing that. And the thing is about gratefulness, my audience is gonna be grateful for me because I'm gonna put polls out there and we're gonna entertain each other and have a good time and interact with one another.
Well, maybe I need to start using Spotify for podcasters.
You do. You and Mrs. Claus can make some guap, Santa.
And I can finally find out where the ho-ho-ho's at.
So yeah, we do that every month.
We do that every month. Like I said, we don't know who listens and who doesn't listen to them. I'm trying to think which one has been one of my favorite ones. Can you think of which ones that you
I mean, all of them are good. I think this last one was one of my favorite ones just because of the setup of it. But I mean, I don't have them marked by what we talked about. I can randomly click on another one if you want, but I don't know that we were even doing sketches the whole time. But I know we started doing them at least the last few times. Let me see.
Hey kids, you want to make a podcast?
Yeah,
Well, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easy. And then you could distribute it everywhere. Everywhere. And you can even make money.
Make money?
That's right. All in one place for free. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone.
Wow.
Or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today.
Even me?
Even you, little buddy. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take the conversation your fans to the next level, you can do questions and answers and polls. Don't we all love polls, kids?
Yay, we love polls.
Well, all you got to do is go to Spotify for Podcasters so you can start earning your money today. And guess what? Best of all.
What?
It's all totally free.
Free?
With no catch.
Yay!
Yay, Spotify for Podcasters. So, yeah, we're just being silly. All right, let's move on. I don't want to play them all.
Oh, no problem.
My husband and I are professors in Colorado. Says Lisa, at Academic Witch Hunt, we are seeing nationwide is terrifying and ominous. Anytime I teach, I feel like my neck is on the line. Not stopping, though. Well, they better hope y'all continue to not stop, because I think you get to a point where a lot of talent would be lost in academia the same way it's been lost in our public school system, where people are like, not worth the headache. I can go find some other job in the private sector or something, make better money, be taken care of, and don't have to deal with these fucking nutbags trying to get me out of the paint.
Yeah, and also depend on who you are and how big you are, and you know, kind of what you've been doing. Some people, like a lot of things, guess what? They, particularly in this field, they can literally be like, oh, I will go make my own brand, make my own name, take the following that I've kind of collected on these multiple platforms and do my own shit. I don't even have to worry about y'all.
NWA, naysayers with an attitude, says James. And Miss Barnes says, naysayer, what? All right. That's it for all the comments and stuff on the episodes, on the website, YouTube, Spotify, and everything. Let's get into the voicemails. Missed it. All right, here's the first voicemail from D Ramsey PhD.
Happy New Year to the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. This is D Ramsey, PH Ramsey, Alden Ramsey. There it is. Y'all, thank you for this top 25 list of what sets Black people back. I love y'all for real. I really, really love being in the chat. Of course, I caught this episode right towards the end, so I didn't get to hear all 25, but I will play it back on the replay. Wishing you all the blessings, all the success, all the laughter, jokes, and joy that your hearts can stand. And y'all keep doing what you do. I've been a listener off and on since 2016, so I'm glad for this 25 things that set Black folk back, because, child, I love us for real. All right, y'all have a blessed week, a blessed 2024, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Oh, thank you. And Happy New Year's to you. Tiffany writes in for the calls in for the next one.
Hey, Rod and Karen, it's Tiffany Cherise. I was just calling to say a very, very happy new year. I'm glad to be going into 2024 with the two of you and the podcast. I've been around since 2016, and so I had never heard your list, your Setting Black Folks Back list and Moving Black Folks Forward. I love a list. So this was one of my favorite episodes, and I really enjoyed it. I laughed the entire time, and I hope that you guys continue to be blessed and in love. And Karen, I didn't think any episode was going to top the moving pictures from last week, but I absolutely love this episode. It's my favorite so far of the year. It's the only one of the year, but you know what I mean. But you guys take care, and I hope you have a good rest of the week. All right, bye.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad y'all enjoyed that list, man. Because like that's one of the things that a lot of times I just either don't have time for or just go, that's a long time ago. But I don't know. I just felt Karen had the day off work and it was like, you know what? I woke up feeling inspired. I said, I've been thinking about it for a few days. I was like, we should bring that back just because it'd be fun. And man, that was fun. So yeah, I plan to do it again. Last one's from Jen. She left 2 voicemails.
Hey, Rod and Karen. It's Jen calling y'all. It's been a minute since I called. And, I got a bone to pick with y'all because, I got some things on my list here you've been covering. And number 1 is Simone Biles. Because all I want to be able to do is grab my little popcorn and enjoy my gender wars in peace. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all have to come in with your little logic and reason. And I can't really enjoy the gender war the way I want to and be mad at this man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to bring logic into the chat. So I'm mad because, we just want to fight.
I mean, your name is in gender war. You can't spell gender war without gin, so it makes sense. And then people want to just like sip on some gin and fight with the men. I get it. I'm not mad at you.
And it's funny. I know y'all don't give dating advice, but it is actually helpful to hear a logical argument for why we shouldn't hate Jonathan Owens. I think we're just meant to be so polarized. And that episode, I think I'll talk about it in a couple of episodes. It's actually really helpful because I think, listen, I'm out here in LA trying to date. It's treacherous, but I do be throwing people away for stupid shit. And it was helpful because I'm just like, oh yeah, you can't just be throwing people away for anything. And, having you all break it down the way you did made me think that we just meant to be polarized and it ain't really even that serious most of the time. So I guess a thank you is in order, but I'm mad because I really was just trying to grab my bowl of popcorn. I'm going to call back because I have a couple more things on my little list.
All right, she did call back. But just real quick, I mean, to me, the true entertainment in most stuff is one step outside of just being like a rooting interest in the fun for the Cat Williams stuff isn't just him talking the shit. It's just like how good at it he was, and how he was
literally doing a master class. Like it was just amazing. And I think a lot of people fail to realize when he presented these things, it was the inflection of his voice, the way he was telling it, the sleight of hand, how things were consistently moving. It was just beautiful just to watch, and he was saying it funny. And I think if they were having a serious conversation, this would not have blown up the way it did. But because he was just allowed to just go and just be himself, it made it beautiful to watch.
But like in addition to that, it's the craft and how no one's going to be able to really respond to it. Everyone's going to talk about it. They're at 22 million views on that interview for YouTube, if not more. It completely changed the narrative on how people are going to view those other guys' careers. It'll be because it's funny and truthful enough or truth-ish. It'll stick to those people, even if it's not true. So like I said, you literally have, and it was what I thought it was, but you have Ice Cube come out and say, we did have Ricky Smiley audition for Mike first. And, but we went with Cat. And you're like, okay, I can see how Ricky Smiley has a version of that where he was like, yeah, I was Money Mike first. And I can see how Cat has a version of that where he's like, no, I was always going to be Money Mike. I'm better than you and da-da-da. Cat said he wrote the part, so how could anyone else play it? But Ice Cube was like, that part was already written. It was already in there. And of course, Cat is a comedian. He's doing stuff on the slide. He's writing stuff on the spot. He's contributing, to the writing. So yeah, he wrote it, but he didn't invent it. And yes, it existed before him. And yes, so truth didn't really matter. Because forever when you see Ricky Smiley, you're going to be like, the nigga that wears dresses because he's not funny and lied about having Money Mike part. That's what it's going to, and so he's great at that. All right, now to her next voicemail.
It's Jen again. I watched the whole Cat Williams interview. It was long, but it was really good, and I agree. He's a great interviewer. I love his stand up, specifically the old stand up, like y'all mentioned. But I was just laughing at Shannon's reactions, like when he said the Chris Tucker, Jeffrey Epstein thing, and Shannon was just like, Lord have mercy. I was just laughing at his reactions, and a lot of the comments are like, Shannon's not a good interviewer. He didn't really ask questions, but honestly, I think the pull that Shannon has to even get Kat on the show is really all that was needed, because Kat, really spilled the tea on his own. So
yeah, and to Kat's credit, I don't even think Shannon's people got Kat on. Kat don't do a lot of interviews in press because he doesn't have to.
Right.
So Kat basically reached out to them. So, and you're not gonna say no.
You're not gonna say no.
So you have him on for one of the few interviews he gives, and he gives you 3 hours of heat. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, it's better for the content that Shannon is not a rigorous interviewer,
right? And
that he's mostly a sports personality trying to be like this weird kind of sit in the influencer space, where the host space, not necessarily like I'm a rigid journalistic interview. Like the point I made on pregame is, if it was about journalism and fact checking, like if Cat Williams went on Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, that they would have cut that 3 hours down to like 20 minutes at best. And it would have been just what we can verify, just factual shit. They would have had to hit up some other sources, ask the people he's talking about, is this true?
Mm-hmm.
That would not have, it would have made it a more factual interview. It wouldn't have made better content.
Nope.
And
most people would not have cared.
Yeah, 22 million views later, or whatever the fucking number is, I think they were right. Like maybe it's serendipity, maybe it's just luck, maybe it would have happened to any of us. Because that's the other thing. Kat was saying shit so fast and so many outlandish things mixed with jokes, no one would have been able to fact check him on the spot anyway.
Right.
Like the most you could do is ask a follow-up question, and he's so good at deflecting follow-up questions. I noticed that throughout the interview too. When Shannon did try to be like, now hold on, you can't mean that. Now come on. Now Kat, you saying this, and then Kat would be like, is that not what I said, sir? Did I say it? That it was said. So then I don't know why we're asking questions. And you're like, damn, he just really deflected all the because now you stupid for continuing to be like, but don't we need some facts to back this part up? Now you're dumb. He already done told you. And then he kept alluding to, you let these other motherfuckers come on here and lie. So this the platform of liars, apparently. So how you gonna fact check me, the truth teller, but not these liars? So it was brilliant. All right, back to what you were saying now.
So I loved it. I thought it was really interesting, and obviously, some things went a little over the line, but I thought overall it was a great interview. I also wanted to mention that I'm reading "Conflict Is Not Abuse." I had a bad date in a bookstore, but the good thing is I got that book I've been meaning to buy for a while. I remember when you used to open the show with a reading from a book, you would always mention that, and you've mentioned that a bunch. And it's funny because the intro to the book mentions 3 conflicts up top, right? It mentions Ray Rice, which is, you've mentioned on the show just this past week. It mentions Black Lives Matter, and it mentions the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which is so wild. Those things are just so relevant, and that book was written in like 2013, 2014, I believe. So shout out to you for keeping it relevant. And then last thing I was going to say that cracked me up was when you said, what is anybody who's burned books on the right side of history? That cracked me up. Anyway, I hope you'll have a good day. Love you both. Bye.
It is wild, right? There's never been a movie with the good people burning books.
Right.
And yet, there are people in real life like this. This is crazy. Oh man, sometimes I can't believe we live through stuff like this, Right. In art, there's like the Nazis are always bad.
Yes, they
There's
are.
never been the good Nazi movies. Was like, well, thank God that the Nazis showed up. We never have those movies, and yet there are people that are like, I want to be a Nazi. I want to get the tiki torch and tell people that's what I'm standing on. Wow. All right, let's get into the last thing, the emails that we had. We got some emails, y'all. All right. Plenty of emails. Tanya W. writes in with the first one. It's taken me so long to comment on this year's live show, but it was amazing and so much fun. I had a ball. It was wonderful meeting Miss Barnes and Dr. April, and hoping to meet Leonard Brothers and his mom next time, and not just hear his voice from a row behind. LOL. And a shout out to the gentleman who I ran into later that evening, who also was at the show and had a great conversation with on the street. He mentioned his Twitter handle, but dang it, if I don't write these things down immediately, it's gone. Not trying to make a love connection, LOL. Me and my man are 18 years and counting, but if he hears this and wants to follow back, I am at Tanya Wyman, which is TanyWaWeiman. So not a love connection thing. So, she's not, trying to get no digits or nothing. She just want to let you know, you were cool and stuff. Okay, she got a man. I know what you're thinking. What her man got to do with you? But she got a man. I know you say, I'm not trying to hear that, dude. I know, but she got a man.
Then that's all that matters.
Yeah, but what her man got to do with? Yeah, I get it. Okay. For some reason my computer's acting up.
Oh shit! Now.
Great.
I still see you moving the shit.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have to go in Chrome and open this or something. What is happening? Why is it doing this?
Do not know.
Son of a bitch. It's just like the whole thing froze.
Okay.
I see my camera's working now.
It is.
Windows Explorer. I gotta close this program, guys. I don't have a choice. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, everybody.
We're gonna lose the sound.
Yeah. I can't even pause the record. Three-hour show. Me trying to power through it. Am I on screen moving yet? Okay. All right. So I must be back. All right. Back to this. Also, for anyone who would like a little more joy in your life, please follow at Bloom and Plume, aka Maurice Harris on Instagram, the world's most fabulous florist. His posts are wonderful. Such a timeline cleanse. I first heard of him as a guest on Paul Holdengraber's The Quarantine Tapes podcast. All the best, Tanya. Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya. Tanya is one of my favorite people. When I get to branch out and try new foods, I always think about her. I cannot wait to one day get back up in New York. I talked to Roger's mom about you, Tanya, about all the great foods we ate that I couldn't pronounce. So we make our way back up there, baby. It's a date.
All right. Jeff says, hey, Rod and Karen, happy 2024. I wish you happiness and joy in this year. Hate to start off with the new year with a concern, but would love to hear your banter on this. And it's Biden and Trump poll. What was this? A fraying coalition. Black, Hispanic, young voters abandon Biden as election year begins. Is it apathy, misinformation, or in this case, that y'all have no idea what you're in for by not supporting Biden? I always love and respect Jeff from Japan. Well, I feel like we talk about this stuff all the time on the show. And I don't have any new thoughts or anything to add. We've already talked about polls can be misleading.
Yes.
That they may be cause for concern, but they also often are wrong. Both ways, by the way. People didn't have Trump winning People didn't have Biden winning. Biden was supposedly doing terrible in the polls before he ended up winning the election and having that youth vote and stuff. And at the same time, current events do affect things. Social media affects things. So he may be polling badly now, and whatever changes or things they try to do in the campaign may there will be adjustments made before November. But end of the day, we're going to get the country we deserve. And I blame the voters. I don't blame the politicians. We know what's on the line.
Right.
If people don't find that compelling enough, fine. We'll just go back through this bullshit and we'll end up with Trump in office, and it won't be better than it was the first time. So everything you claim to care about will probably end up worse off in his hands. And that's just the apathy that people live with, or whatever. Democrats have to be perfect, and Republicans just get to be Republicans. That's just how it is in America. Linda says, hey, y'all, I emailed last week, but I'm actually been a long time listener. Dropped off like a year or so ago, but just picked up the podcast again. To be honest, I missed you, and thanks for still working so hard at the podcast. Anyway, Karen's mentioned Cozy Grove, and oh my goodness, I've been hooked on that game too.
Yay! I love that game. That game is a lot of fun. You like a camper, and you on this island, and it is so much fun. And as you play along, you okay. For those of you like, what the hell can you talk about? It's this game called Cozy Grove. So you like it's like a kind of like the Girl Scout, but their own version of the Girl Scout, and you get sent to this island. And the whole purpose of while you're on the island, you're helping the spirits of the island, and you bring as you help the spirits, they kind of expand the island. You can do certain things around the island. You can fish. Oh, it's so much fun.
They're enjoying it as well.
Yeah.
They said, I play a lot of cozy games and simulators lately, mostly on Switch, but occasionally on PC. I currently have 355 hours in Cozy Grove because I got in the habit of playing it before bed, and have finished almost all the achievement and collections. Some other games I've been playing lately that you might like is Code of the Lamb,
I played that.
Oxenfree.
Let me write that down. I have Oxenfree.
Yeah, Code of the Lamb. I'll finish reading them all because we've played some of these already.
Okay.
And I'll put it in the producer chat for you, Karen, since you want to make a list.
Right, in case some of them I hadn't played.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Code of the Lamb, Oxenfree, The Gardens Between, Spiritfarer, which we loved. I love Spiritfarer. I beat that.
I think the year it came out was like my game of the year.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you ever finished it.
I know this. For those of you that played this game, as wild as it may sound, I have not finished that game because in my mind, if I finish the game, it's gonna be like the end. They're like, nope, they're gonna live forever in my mind. So I was like, nope, can't end the game.
Islanders, Moonlighter, Dredge, Katamari Damacy Reroll, Switch. Yeah, I played that one. It gives me a little bit of motion sickness for some reason. Wander Song, Yoshi's Crafted World, Untitled Goose Game, Don't Starve, Sims 4, City Skylines, Roller Coaster Tycoons 1, 2, and 3 on Steam. So some of these are PC games, and Karen plays on console. And then some of these are like City Skylines and Roller Coaster Tycoon are definitely more like sim situations.
Right.
But yeah, those are all like kind of cozy. Would love to hear if you two have played any of those. Yeah. Spiritfarer was one you brought up for me.
Yeah.
I also played Farm Together, which I loved, which is also a cool, cozy game.
Yeah. I played not all of these. I played some of these. Well, majority of these I have played though, or at least attempted to play.
If you think you like them, some are very short, some are kind of spooky because I like that. All have brought me joy. I really enjoyed your video game reviews as I game a whole lot too. I'm working on finally building a PC now, actually listening to you while I do so. I'm Frankensteining some parts together secondhand. It's really fun. Keep on keeping on. Linda, thank you. Tim writes in, greetings, the Blackout Tips. The title of this is Worst Xmas Gift. Still a few episodes behind, but I'm listening to episode 2817 when y'all discussing the worst Christmas gifts. I have a couple examples. One year when my siblings and I were kids, early 90s, we woke up what we thought was the best Christmas gift ever. There were so many gifts under the tree that the tree was lifted off the ground. In reality, our parents had rewrapped all of our old toys, books, etc., and wanted to teach us a lesson to appreciate what we already have.
What?
If you broke, say that. Stop playing with my emotions.
What?
We grew up pretty poor, and we had already accepted that. I mean, we didn't know any different. So not only was the lesson unnecessary, it only served to highlight just how poor we really were.
Right.
We all ended up getting some dollar store socks or some such as the only new gift that year. Also, looking back, I'm realizing I don't think my dad liked me very much. By the time I was in junior high and high school, all of my gifts from him were either gag gifts or not really for me. He put books and gaming console boxes. Damn, that's evil. Kmart shoes and Nike Jordan boxes. What the fuck? That's abuse. This is worse than Simone Biles' husband.
Right.
He and the coup de grace. My junior year, my only gift was a PlayStation, the original, and a couple games, but I was never allowed to even look at it because I was busting my ass trying to secure scholarships for college. Yeah, that was the biggest trick the devil ever pulled, was my parents getting me video games, and then the video game controllers and plugs spent 90% of their lifetime on top of the fridge because I was always in some kind of trouble. Because no kid is fucking perfect. I'm a kid.
Right.
So it's like any one thing, it was like, give me the controller. I'm like, God damn. What's the point? Now you wonder why I game so much now.
Right.
You wonder why I stay in the house and just play video games.
Y'all can't come in here and take it from me. You can't yank it. Can't nobody turn this motherfucker off. If I want to stay up to 3 a.m., I can now because I'm grown.
And that was back before you could save all the time and quick resume and all that shit. That
had to memorize shit.
They asked for the plug back. I got to start Vector Man over at fucking level 1. Anyway. So for 2 years, I watched my dad and brothers play my games in my face. And when I finally graduated and actually got into college, I tried to take the console with me. My dad said, nigga, that's not yours. Wow. Damn, I thought I found something else to discuss in therapy while writing this email, said Tim, aka Black Atheist Pilot. Yeah. Happy therapy. Kimberly writes in, Kim B from Maryland says, philosophy of comedy regarding new Chevelle and Gervais specials. I haven't seen the Gervais one yet. Hey, Rod and Karen, first time, long time. This is Kim at Kim B Musing on Instagram and Kim B from MD in the chat. I wanted to write in because I was reading an article about the new Netflix comedy specials recently dropped by Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais, where they continue to rail against woke culture and act like punching down is somehow revolutionary. It reminded me so much of what you and Karen frequently say about how you as audience members are happy to come along for the ride on some fucked up shit if they find a way to make it funny. From the article, Anthony Jeselnik told fellow comedian and podcaster Theo Von earlier this year that too many stand-ups would rather get into trouble by saying the wrong thing instead of focusing on their job and saying funny things. People think, oh, as a comic, your job is to get in trouble, but they don't want to get yelled at. It's like, it's okay to make people mad, but they don't want any pushback, and I think that's wrong, Jeselnik said. As a comedian, you want to make people laugh. This is a quote contributed to Andy Warhol that I love. Art is getting away with it, you know. If you put out a special and everyone's pissed, like, you didn't get away with it, you know. You need to make everyone laugh, that they're like, yeah, he talked about some fucked up stuff, but they are happy. That's art. Otherwise, you're just a troll. Yep. That's why it's what people don't realize that they worship about Patrice O'Neal. Like, people think they love Patrice O'Neal because they're like, he always was saying, you know, Patrice would have said. But what they always forget is Patrice would have made it funny.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing. And we've kind of, and it's because of social media and influencers being praised and all this. This is just I'm just thinking off the top of the dome while I'm saying this. Because of social media and influencers being praised and getting attention, you have comedians that kind of get into the influencer space. And not trying to be funny, me and Roger go to comedy shows. I come for the motherfucking jokes. I didn't come for the goddamn TED Talk. I didn't come to hear your fucking podcast. I came for the jokes. It's okay if your joke style is storytelling. That I've heard all types of comedy. I am cool with that. And I don't care if your jokes are political. Like, none of that shit bothers me. My thing is, there are a lot of people that do things that are not funny and act like there's something wrong with the audience that says your shit ain't funny, where the jokes, instead of them saying, I could have crafted it a better way, blah, 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 they turn around and they get angry at the audience like it's the audience's fault. But the audience is the ones that are, particularly if you tour, coming to your shows and they want to be entertained.
Yeah. So yeah, I think
the art is getting away with it. That is what makes it good. That's what makes it funny. I think Gervais, I haven't really been interested in his specials for a while, but he was never my cup of tea. Chappelle, I think, is literally one of the greatest comedians of our lifetime. Used to go see this dude, drive hundreds of hours to go see him all the time. And I still think I think he's right in that he's too good at comedy, which he's been doing since he's like a teenager. He's too good at it to fail ever.
Right.
And he's so good, I think he can get people in a room to laugh at whatever the fuck he wants to talk about for the most part. So I've never really judged him on just, is he getting people to laugh? And there's some people that are almost like sycophants. They root for people in the way they, like they're their friends. And so they don't want to hear that, people don't like what Dave's doing. But I think we have to stick to reality. And at some point in this Netflix resurgence, it's been more about the anger, and it's been more about people defending the specials than enjoying the specials. I listen to people that talk about the specials every time they come out. I've never heard any of them really reiterate the jokes and why they were funny. They always just go about, people are mad, and here's why I fuck those people for being mad, and why are you trying to hold Dave to some standard that he doesn't even want to apply it to him, blah, blah, blah. Not saying they're wrong for that, but I'm saying there was a time where, and if I bring up lines from Killing Him Softly, everyone will stop and go, yes, that's funny. I remember that. I remember that whole fucking special almost verbatim, same thing with his 30-minute HBO joint. There's the joint in San Francisco after that. But at some point he dug into the polarization that already exists and decided that it's not about necessarily if I'm going to be funny or not.
Right.
I'm going to lecture y'all, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be defiant and angry. This latest special, I don't think was that. I think it was a lot less angry, even though, generally he is entrenched in this whole, like, I'm going to find ways to poke fun at the LGBTQ people, especially trans people, in every special. And I'm going to wedge the joke in there. And I think those were some of the most awkward moments, is because it felt like such an agenda driven moment, like, where it's like, this is just you being like, I need to keep making these people mad because I'm never going to let them feel like they made me stop talking about this. And I know that's where it's coming from, or it feels like that's where it's coming from to me. But then he was at least writing jokes. Like, they were joke form this time. The last few times, sometimes he'd go on a 10-20 minute like thing that's just not funny. It's just a TED Talk, as Karen said. So anyway, back to this. When I read that, I was like, yes, exactly. That's what Rod and Karen be saying. The comedian's first responsibility is to make us laugh. The best at the craft are able to reveal something insightful, absurd about the human condition as a result.
Right.
But bitterly demanding to get paid for being mean and contrarian with no consequences are more akin to an adolescent temper tantrum than art. Yeah, I think also, like, we're at a point where the people that don't like him and don't fuck with his stand-up are just as dependent on him for content as Netflix. Like,
yes, they are.
I'm watching people that I know didn't even want to hit play on that shit if they hit play.
Right.
Or people, do the thing where they pat themselves on the back like, I hit play, but I tapped out 3 minutes in because I'm such a great person, I can never. And it's like, but if you hit play at all, which that's the only thing Netflix counts, by the way. Even if you only play 30 seconds, it counts as a play. But if you hit play at all, I'm questioning your sanity.
Right.
Because you're now 4 or 5 of these specials that have had the same
either
issue,
or you're out.
You are now just as much dependent on him for content as Netflix, because you clicked it for the content. Whether to say you can't stand it, well, let me guess, you're still a person that doesn't fuck with that. Congrats. Well, here's your brownie. Here's your A on your score. I just don't give you any credit, because why would you watch it?
Right.
I don't get what it is at this point. I respect the people that are like, I saw a stand-up special came out, didn't watch it, fuck them. That I get more out of that. I'm like, shit, that motherfucker got some integrity. They ain't watching that shit.
Then the people that are like, I watched 37 seconds and I couldn't, like, okay, nigga, it's not the Holocaust. It's just a goddamn special on the platform you pay for. Just don't hit play.
Right.
Anyway. But yeah, this special, I thought he was back to trying to be Bugs Bunny and silly, and I think also there's something inside of him that this is just our projection for me. There's something inside of him that is defiant, and he wants to prove his he wants to prove that he gets to be a clown when he wants to be a clown. And it will always strike people wrong, I think. A lot of people wrong, not everybody. But it's always going to strike people wrong because, one, the logic of his clown joke, the logic of his anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ material does not hold up to me. And it's mostly just because it's a sleight of hand, and it's an argument that if a white comedian used it about racism, all the black people that support Dave Chappelle would be on the opposite side of that. I know people to this day that won't move past Sarah Silverman doing blackface one time on her TV show that are like, trans people need to get over Dave Chappelle making 4 or 5 specials and jokes about them. Right. And everyone needs to not be offended. And it's just comedy. Well, Sarah Silverman was doing just comedy with that blackface shit. Amy Schumer was doing just comedy with her Mexican rape joke. A lot of people were doing just comedy. They were on the sacred space of the stage, and we ain't moved on, and we're never moving on.
Right.
So the idea that everyone has to be wrong because you laughed at these jokes is crazy to me, but he's entrenched, and that's where we're stuck, but he says, she says, Kimberly says, anyway, I just wanted to say Karen B. Knowing Rod was right. I've been listening for years, talk about the show constantly, and even have my kids 18 and 13 play along with Guess the Race. Keep up the great work, you too. Yeah, what I find the most interesting is people acting like Dave Chappelle has broken some sacred trust with the comedian versus audience shit. And as I've said, as a person, a student of comedy, a person that loves stand-up, none of this, all these general rules are just not true.
Right.
Richard Pryor did some shit that was punching down. Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, George Carlin. None of these people are perfect little tiny, put them in a box and put a bow on it. All of them paid it outside the box when they wanted to and inside. And Dave is carrying on that tradition. And even where I have an issue is not in the I'm not laughing because I'm offended. It's in I don't find the jokes that good. I get shock value jokes. I get it. And I'm not saying I'm above laughing at shock value jokes, Like I'm not, like I said, I think I have a different issue than a lot of the people that are making content dissing his specials. Because I'm not one of these, I didn't even laugh once. I'm like, no, I was laughing. It was some funny shit in there. And then I think I'm chasing the high of watching an era where it felt to me like he just didn't miss.
Right.
And look, that's not fair. He's fucking 50.
Correct.
Like he's making a special a year, which is ridiculous. You don't even have new shit happen to you in a year. There's no time to change, to have new perspectives. This is all defending what the fuck you just was saying. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not as offended by him and as I am just kind of like, oh man, he used to be better than this, but I guess he decided to almost give up. Like I'm stuck in this place and I'm not moving on. The audience and the people that hate me won't move on. So we just gonna be doing this shit every year. And this year had the least amount of that trans stuff and all that in there. It just was still in there because I don't think he wants to look like he backed down. Gratitude. Idris says, hello, Rod and Karen. Hope 2024 has gotten off to a great start for both of you. I've been listening since around 2016, but I haven't written in a while. The recent illness of a couple close friends has really put it on my heart to express my appreciation and gratitude to the people who make my life better. This includes y'all. It's difficult for me to describe just how important you two are in my life. Simply stated, I don't want to imagine a world without you two in it. When I turn on the podcast, it feels like I'm being comforted by two close friends on the back porch of one of those colonial-style homes with a tall glass of country time lemonade. No matter what other concerns or issues I have at the moment, they all go on pause when the show begins.
I'm continually impressed by the dedication and effort you two put towards the shows, the freshness, the timeliness of your topics, the jingles, the new segments. It's clear to me that you are fulfilling your purpose here on Earth. I can go on and on, but essentially I'll just be saying I love you in different ways. Thank you both for all you do. I'm absolutely a fan for life. P.S. From time to time, I envision winning the lottery, and I swear for God, you two will be high on my list of gift recipients. House, cars, trips, the checkbook will be open. Oh, thank you, Idris. That means a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate you giving us our flowers while we're still here, man. You know, as we get older, I think, you know, you see more people lose stuff. You see more, you lose stuff. You just, you know, you realize how temporary all this shit is. And
yes, you do.
You know, it's one of the reasons why I'm like, the truth is important, but also like giving people the good truth is as important as the bad truths. So like, while we praise like, you know, Cat Williams going on a podcast and talking shit about everybody and go, he telling the truth, you know, I think we should also praise the people that go on there and uplift folks too. Because those truths are just as valuable.
Yes, they are.
Honestly, the best thing about the Cat Williams thing has actually been the amount of people in real life that are like, he blessed me by paying me more than I was supposed to get opening for him. You know, stuff like that. You know, he floated me money when I have no, you know, I wasn't even able to eat as a comedian. That's the shit that I that's way more impressive than anything he said about any of those comedians y'all don't like.
Agreed.
Zoe says, hey, Rod, you probably noticed by now, but the reason Marvel hired James Gunn back after they fired him over his old tweets was because they realized they fucked up. They thought that by firing him, he would be blacklisted or untouchable. But right after he was fired, he was hired by WB to direct the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Also, many of the cast, particularly Dave Bautista, suggested they wouldn't return to the franchise without Gunn. Marvel realized they were losing a multi-million-dollar asset over some dumb shit, so they rehired him to direct Guardians 3 and the Guardians Christmas special, but the damage had already been done. As you know, Gunn is now the co-head of the DCU films and will direct the Superman reboot, among other films. Given his track record, I'm sure those movies will be fire. Love the show. Keep up the good work in the new year. Peace. My naysayers, so Backlook Examiner. We do know all this, but I think what I was trying to say is at some point, there's just a guy in a suit in an office, whether it be Ike Perlmutter, whether it be Kevin Feige, someone said, fuck that.
Yes, they did.
We're getting James Gunn back.
Somebody with power.
And I'm saying we may have to see that in some other forms, like when we're talking about Claudine Gay, there's somebody that got the checkbook that's a booster, or somebody for a school that's just gonna be like, man, fuck that. Right. We picked her.
Yes.
We wanted her.
We're tired of this disruption.
These motherfuckers don't just come in and tell us what to do.
Right.
That is that simple sometimes, and it's bad sometimes too. Like, I think a lot of the like end of the Me Too movement was just like people going, we were nice enough. Okay, y'all are getting down to like, this guy put his hand on my back when we took a picture. And no, we're not firing this guy for that shit. Like, you gotta fucking have something better than that. Cause y'all remember when the Me Too started getting like a little more like in the grayish areas where you like, I'm sorry you felt uncomfortable, but he shook your hand isn't necessarily the big joker that to get this. We're not going to take away everything from this guy because he shook your hand or whatever, right? Or so-and-so asked you on a date or whatever, you know, because I feel like, you know, everyone was trying to see what the boundaries were.
Right.
But I really think at the end of the day, there were people in suits somewhere and went, yeah, not
that's
that
enough.
one.
Yeah, that's enough of that, y'all.
And sadly, like I said, it's not always good because I think with this one, it's like people now getting you know, harassment and all this shit is still happening. But yeah, I think with James Gunn and whatever that happened, and we're gonna need to see that in academia, because this plagiarism shit, as y'all can see, is not gonna stop.
No, it is not. Somebody got to step in and be like, stop the bullshit.
Somebody's just gonna be like, we not firing them, so be mad,
right?
And then we'll see what happens. Aaron says, 2833 naysayer, please. I do agree about living in a bubble surrounded by bigots. I do watch a lot of YouTube, and popular channels published a video discussion between liberal lesbians and conservative lesbians. I thought the liberal lesbians made sense and supported most of their ideas. The conservative lesbians, what an oxymoron, were just loud and wrong most of the time. I thought that the YouTube comments would be on the liberal side, but 95% of the comments were on the conservative side, and I was a little shocked. I had an idea that they were probably a lot of conservative commentators who don't regularly watch this channel, but did chime in to voice their concerns on this particular topic. But it was a little eye-opening to me that it can be in my own world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the internet and online, and for some people in real life, has created a reality that's not real. And that's how you can have people saying all types of shit. And when you go, oh, you hadn't talked to anybody outside your bubble, because everything you believe, there's somebody that believes the complete opposite of that. And you have to remember that. And if you remember that, you will know it's a consistent fight. And you won't get to the point where you get this apathy and all this shit because you're surrounded by people who all think the same. No, everything that you consider freedom, everything you want to stand up for, there's somebody somewhere that was like, I want to take that shit away from you, and I will do whatever I can to do that and accomplish that.
Linda writes in episode 2833, y'all talked about academic dishonesty being weaponized against people, and man, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened all over the place. I got a few degrees and briefly worked in academia, and one of the biggest things that pisses me off is how little universities care about things like sexism, racism, sexual harassment, abuse, etc., but they go hard on academic dishonesty. They threaten you about it a lot, and it is a policy they love to brag about how much they enforce, but man, I've never really understood why it matters so much, to be honest. I've never really cared that much if my peers cheat, and like, honestly, but it's bad, I guess. But if universities put even a fraction as much effort into things that actually matter and that actually degrade the integrity in the institution, they'd be finding a lot more professors, let me tell you. So I guess it sort of makes sense that if they want to silence people to make sure someone look bad, academic dishonesty would be a useful tool to do that, since they have more systems in place to make that ruin someone's career than I wish they use on people who actually are doing more harm. And like, I don't know much about the situation at hand, but this story touched a nerve for me, since I got a lot of feelings about academia. Keep on keeping on, Linda. Thanks, Linda. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, you're right. There's already systems in place for the academic dishonesty.
Right.
On
all these universities
that can really get people out to pay. And I think one of the reasons that it's that way is because it's like the NCAA, because they can't catch everybody because it's too many people, it's too rampant. Mm-hmm. They make it so that if we do catch you, we throw the whole book at you, and that's supposed to scare everybody into being honest. That's what they're hoping. I don't know if it's working, but that's what they're hoping.
Right.
About Jonathan Owens, this is from Keith. The homie Keith. I know him from Facebook. I'm a week behind on episodes. I still haven't caught up on the feedback episode for this episode, so my bad. To everyone, if this is already talked about, there's a huge wave of feedback and everyone's hearing or tired of hearing about it. It's just throughout this thing being a topic, I've had a consistent thought stand out in my head, and hearing your thoughts on the show reminded me of it. I'm not ashamed to admit that I initially did take the bait of how it was framed, and when I saw it on my feed, since a lot of other people did too, and my first thought was, I understand him refusing to shrink himself because everyone thinks his wife is dope, but it would have been pretty easy for him not to say that. When I saw it blow up on social media, it soon became clear this was another gender war that people were fighting by proxy, and I backed off. But not knowing the full context, I definitely don't think the second half of that sentence anymore. But the first part, I believe even more. It's a major pet peeve of mine when people want to praise my wife, and yes, by all means do that. She's amazing, and I married her for a reason, but feel like in order to do so, they can put me down. It's not that I'm insecure. I just find it disrespectful and obnoxious. And even when they intend it as a lighthearted joke, I will tell them I didn't think it was funny, or make things awkward by asking them to explain the joke to me. Yeah, I've seen Keith do this on Facebook before, and I thought it was a valid point where, like, like someone would, like, it's like he write a post praising his wife or something, mm-hmm. and then it's just, and this is part of patriarchy, by the way. This is the parts that people like, so they don't want to talk about it.
Right.
But it's this thing of like down the man and it big ups the woman. So it's like, is she dealing with a slub like you? How'd you do that? And so when someone goes against that narrative, to be honest, that's closer to equality and feminism.
Yes, it is.
Is the person that is the partner of a woman being like, she pulled me, is closer to like an actual reality. But it's like when people see a woman propose to a man, it doesn't fucking matter what their ideals and things they stand to claim to stand for mean. It goes out the window. It's like the fucking lizard brain takes over. They're like, how dare this bitch? Why would you humble all women? Like it's okay for like a man should want to get you, not the other way. So you do believe that bullshit then.
Mm-hmm.
So you do believe it sometimes. It's okay when you think it's benefiting you, when you need to be chose, because if you're being chosen, that means the man covets you and supposedly he won't cheat on you and he won't do this. Let me tell you something. A lot of women being proposed to and got cheated on.
Yes, they have.
Period. So ain't no fucking magic bullet with any of this shit.
Mm-mm.
We like the way certain things look when we like the way they look, and that's it. There's no real logic to it. And these relationships are so individual. Nobody's relationship can really inform yours completely.
Right.
You're a different person as is the people you're with or whatever the fuck. So yeah, but yeah, I've seen him say that before, and I'm like, yo, that's a good point. I never thought about that. But yeah, people often will shit on the dude, and this is like, because you should take it. You have male privilege. But like, what if I'm just like, fam, I feel like we're equal. And I think you can big up her. And I'm not intimidated if you big up her.
Right. I don't have a problem with that. But don't insult me like I quote unquote ain't shit.
And we definitely would not ever do it the other way.
Right.
So I definitely can see that, and that's his personal preference. Some dudes they'll do it to themselves. Like, I'm a piece of shit. I can't believe I pulled this beautiful woman, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there's something to it. It also says something about her, which is your wife chose a piece of shit, which I think is weird. They know that I chose my wife, but we forgetting that she also chose me. So what does that say about what you think about her? I know that Owens must sense that times 1,000, so I can relate to that heavy. Yes, my wife is the shit, but I'm not going to pretend I'm some bum ass nigga because I'm in her presence and you think I'm not worthy of her, as I'm supposed to hold my opinion of me and equal regard of hers or even respect it at all. People think they're defending or supporting Simone, but what they're doing is infantilizing her. Clearly, he respects and honors her and vice versa. That's the part for me. Mm-hmm. It's like they say they're doing this to have her back as she is going, please don't do this. And they sound like, like every other version of a weirdo on the internet.
And also it's one of those things where you're stripping her of her autonomy. And when you point that out, all of a sudden you're the party pooper, something wrong with you. Well, you are, because she told you what she wanted. And a lot of the same people, women's rights, equality, choice. This is also part of that choice too, but this is the choice that people reject. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, when you say choice, you mean all of the choices, not just the choices that me and mine would make. Choice means all of the choices, even if I don't agree with it, as long as it's not breaking the law, it's a choice. And so you should have the freedom and the right to make the choice. If I agree with it or not, don't matter. I'm not fucking you. But a lot of times people feel like if you put anything out in public, regardless of if you're famous or not, I have, which is understandable, I have the right to interject and you just have to deal with whatever I say. And your pushback is the problem. But you go, well, that's not how I feel. And these are my facts and these are my truths. And people go, well, fuck that. How I feel about your relationship and you is more important than how you really feel like person who's going through the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Everything you said, I agree with. He goes on to say, of course, like you said on the show, maybe we're wrong. And he turns out to be an ain't shit nigga this whole time. That sort of thing has happened before, but I sense no evidence of that from the podcast interview. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't give a fuck. It's not like, unlike these motherfuckers, I'm not pretending like I know them so well.
Right.
I'm saying from my relationship and the relationships I've seen, I can see how that's not what people think it is. Like, he's just a narcissistic, abusive asshole trying to belittle her. I can see how it could not be that way. And if that bothers people, who gives a fuck? I don't care.
Do not.
I think you're the crazy one. So now we both crazy.
Right.
The other part of this that I always thought was hella interesting was how much stuff you have to ignore to make that work. Because there's other things in the interview. One of the things she said recently, someone, I guess TMZ asked her or something. She said that her and Jonathan don't talk about who's the better athlete because they both just end up arguing or whatever about it, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw so many people like, see, I told you I was right. He says he's a better athlete than her. Nobody even knows what you do in the NFL. She's Simone Biles. And I'm like, okay, y'all do know that better is subjective.
Yes.
They both are athletes professionally.
They competitive spirits.
he could be like, can you dunk this basketball? And who has the highest vertical? Who runs the fastest 40? He could really be trying to be literal like that. And that's part of their dynamic. Like they joke about it. And then she does her motherfucker, I'm the best in the world at flipping. I don't lose. My only competition is myself. You know, like, but I think what happens is we don't know them. So we're not imagining it in a cute, funny way. Like when you saw that commercial with Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, they did a Gatorade commercial together where they both were working out. And it was anything you could do, I could do better. And it was cute, right? People love that commercial. It's, oh my God, look at Black Love. It's
adorable.
Right. Two fit people. But at no point were we like, you know, because Gabrielle Union actually is better than Dwayne Wade at athletic. We weren't like, the commercial said anything you do, I could do better. But we weren't like, well, she can go out and get 20 points in the finals on the Dallas Mavericks. We didn't say that.
And nobody was saying that, you know, he could out-act her, right?
Right. It's just cute.
Yes.
That's it. And you can have cute if your shit is secure or you feel in a secure place.
Correct.
So I don't know. What some people see is like this, it can only be one way. I don't see that way. But I also am not coming at it with a history that is informed by a lot of insecurity around that stuff.
Right.
Anyway, sorry to everyone for digging up this old shit on this topic that honestly had already been dragged on a couple weeks too long, but I felt strongly about that. Thanks, Keith. Celeste says, hi, Rod and Karen. Happy New Year. I really like closing out the year with JL episode. It was perfect close of 2023. And episode 2833, Naysayer, please. I'm like, Karen, that will be my new favorite phrase to use in mixed company, LOL. I want to touch on coronavirus news. So just to let you know, it's getting real in the streets. Hospitals in this area have started requiring masks for staff and visitors again. Even if it's only a few weeks, it is helpful. What is frustrating is the COVID conscious, COVID serious social media crowd is that they have black, white thinking and seem incapable of nuance and self-reflection. For example, as you stated, they erase how the behavior of many people was to minimize, ignoring guidelines, masking, distancing, etc., to reject that COVID was a serious problem from January, February 2020 through the beginning of the Biden administration. They rejected everything, even when their guy made the policy. When Biden Harris came in, they made some really good policies ensuring that anyone who want to access the vaccines, masks, etc., could have them. And after the initial rush, many people moved on. 45 judges struck down mandates. Companies mandated back in-person work. Republicans in the government cut funding and undercut policies to help, like extend extended unemployment, extra food stamps, child tax credit. Yeah, not to mention a lot of them didn't even take the government money, just let it sit in coffers. Right. To be like, so they could spite Biden in them and be like, guys, in my state, my citizens, don't y'all feel how terrible Biden is? That there's no help coming and that COVID's not a real problem. We don't need to deal with it. Meanwhile, some of that money is for like infrastructure and shit. Then you have Republicans that would spend the money and then just act like fuck Biden and fuck that money though.
Yes, and then Biden was like, hey, if y'all not spending this money, we want our money back.
Right.
He was like, fuck that. If you're not going to put the money where it was allocated to go, give us our money back. Then all of a sudden, they about to and flop. And he was like, well, the bitch, do what you're supposed to do your job.
The suffering is the point. Then fast forward to the SM conversation. Since I would say summer 2022, the progressives have faulted Biden, Harris, and never acknowledged any of the other factors that led to where we are, including themselves, their loved ones, etc. People are the factor, basically. It's adopting healthy behaviors and minimizing risky behaviors was so easy across the board. So much in this world will be different. But not only are they sounding a constant alarm, which yes, the data now says we should be extra mindful, they are ascribing malicious intent to Biden and Harris, and no one else mixing it all up with the Gaza conflict. I'm not sure if you've seen this, even from so-called reasonable people calling President Genocide Joe. What the ever-loving fuck? Honestly, online feels like very 2015, 2016-ish again, and seeing Black, Brown, and others fall for it again is upsetting. Yeah, I've seen it. Like I said, I'm not participating in any of these back and forths on social media. I hear people. I've listened to people. I've listened to a lot of long-form, brilliant thinkers about stuff. But a lot of this stuff is also happening in an environment where we know Elon Musk as like, and
Zuckerberg too. Those guys have actually started taking money again from Republicans that are saying that to make ads to say the election was stolen. So like we know it's happening in an environment that is not a healthy environment with rigorous fact checking and censorship on some of the more extreme hate language and stuff. So that's not a recipe to me for let's engage. And I think a lot of people are being taken in by this stuff because it's easy to sloganeer, it's easy to tweet and retweet, and you don't need to have reason or context. Those things get in the way of 280 characters or 140 characters. So let me just post this meme and just move on with my day, and everyone will think I'm a good person. And I don't actually have to think about or come up with the solution for this problem. And that's it. And those people there'll always be some people like that. And engaging them will never change their mind. But what I think people fail to realize is my mind's not changing either. So
agreed.
We're just at an impasse. I am, however, listening to you and Karen's voice a reason where a lot of people aren't on social media. Many aren't arguing like before and knowing the algorithm is pushing things that may not be true in real life. Yeah, we'll see, man. That's how I feel about a lot of this stuff. I'm not gonna run around like a chicken with my head cut off because how many fucking elections do I have to go through where the opposite of what social media told me happened?
Yes.
And that counts even for the last election where they were like, well, you know, Democrats is gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be a red wave, and it was a fucking blue wave, and everyone just act like, what an interesting phenomenon. Oh well,
right.
Back to panic again.
Back to panic.
And anywho, are you looking to trying to get back into reading in 2024? I'm putting it on my goal list. If you start doing your Reading Rainbow segment again, I'll be all ears. Take care, naysayer, please, Celeste. I don't know that I'm making a concerted effort to get back into reading. That hasn't been like a New Year's resolution for me, really, but I don't think about it. I've been reading. I was reading a lot of comic books, shit that don't really make sense to come on here and talk about.
Let's just the nerd off.
Yeah, but I'm reading a lot of comic books and stuff. But yeah, I still read. This one is just we got a gift, but we haven't gone to pick it up yet.
Oh snap!
So I guess we got to go to pick it up from the post office or whatever.
Okay.
But do you want to know what it is?
I guess so. What is it?
It is it's for my girl Pilani. And it is a mini fridge.
Yay!
And it looks like it's probably something that Karen put on our wish list, which says you can use it for like drinks and skincare, fridge for the bedroom.
Yes.
Thermoelectric cooler and all this stuff. So
yay, to keep like, you know how you have creams and stuff to keep them more cooler.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
So she also left a note that says, "Thank you for all the laughs. I always refer folks who work in DEI, diversity, inclusion, equity, and inclusion, to your podcast, especially white folks. Wishing you two a very safe and healthy 2024. Aloha." You know, man, that's so funny because I mean, I appreciate it. We appreciate all the listens.
Thank you.
But man, we don't be thinking about them when we make these shows.
They be the furthest thing from my mind. I'm not even gonna lie.
Maybe that's the best way to learn. No,
Yeah.
maybe that's the best way to learn. The shows that be doing it for pay, maybe y'all need to listen to some people that's like, man, this is how we really feel. Fuck what y'all think. This ain't about y'all right now.
Not even taking your feelings into consideration at this point in time.
Oh man, John writes saying, "Happy New Year, Rod and Karen. Over the holiday break, I turned 50, so now I'm old enough for y'all to hate me."
You done crossed that age.
We travel.
Stop using gifts in 2024, old man. That was an argument on Twitter. I was like, if y'all don't get out of here.
Right. I guess I'm old. I decided to be old. Fuck it.
I am old.
Somebody, I was looking, I saw some shit about this Stanley Cup, and I, honest to God,
I don't know what that is.
I was like, it's not the hockey Stanley Cup.
Okay,
and
so
then,
it's not.
Okay. And then I chose, for the first time in a long time, I chose to not know.
Welcome to the club. Child, it is a friend. Who?
I know you love to not know.
Yes, child, that is my motherfucking jam. They be like, do.
Everybody had
what y'all talking about.
Everybody had a take. Everybody had a joke. I was like, I don't care.
Child, yes, it's a friend feeling. It ain't always a good thing, but it's a friend feeling. Be like, I don't give a fuck.
I know that's your jam. So I'll jam with you today.
Thank you.
We traveled, and man, let me tell you, people don't give a fuck about COVID anymore. On our flight, we were the only couple wearing masks. Then when we got home, surprise, surprise, we both tested positive. We're both fully vaxxed and boosted, and being over 50 does have its perks because it allowed both of us to get Paxlovid, which helped moderate the symptoms significantly, but tasted like shit. But before Paxlovid kicked in, this thing was still pretty brutal, even with the full vaccination. Body aches, headaches, crazy sore throat, night sweats, etc. It was the worst I felt since swine flu back in 2008. Ooh. All of which is to say, if anyone out there gets it, I definitely recommend you get on that Paxlovid if they can. I love the term connoisseur. I haven't gotten an official certification yet, but I like to think quality for a lifetime achievement or honorary, or I qualify for a lifetime achievement or honorary degree. Ryan, you mentioned a porn podcast on 3GO with black hosts that you do love. Do you happen to know the name of it? Oh, it's called the Hotspot Lounge. And I love it in that it is ridiculous. Not in the ridiculous. Like, don't go listening to it because you like, these people take sex work seriously and they're very positive, liberal people. Nah, it's a lot of like, so what's it like having a big old ass? You know, and I'm just like, oh my God. You know? So
just the ignorant ass question.
Are you more of a like, you know, like fuck me, like porno fuck, and you like the, you know, like you like when people like make love? It's very simple shit, but I was more intrigued by the guest because pornography is very racially segregated.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of stuff at the top is just so white. It's for and by white people, right?
Yes, sir.
And it just is what it is. It is what it is. But there's like a lot of porn stars that I like that aren't nearly as famous as like your mainstream, like your Angela Whites or somebody that is like super huge, but they just kind of look like the same. Like, okay, this is the new version of the old version of the white woman that people are allowed to find attractive. So like one of the things I like about the Hotspot Lounge is that they would talk to porn stars where I'm like, oh yeah, I do know Queen Road. You know, like, oh, okay, somebody finally fucking talking to her. Let's see what she's talking about. But yeah, so that's what it reminds me of. He says, that sounds cool. I recently discovered a decent podcast called Girls Own Porn that's surprisingly good. It's a couple white girls, actually Italian, so my people, but they both seem like they've done a lot of work in feminism and even anti-racism, so they're always quick to point out the racist, misogynistic tropes in porn, and even connected to history. They also pick one search term like spit roast or MILF or whatever, and they do a deep dive into the history of the term and its representation in porn. Anyway, it's fun and very informative. Yeah, that sounds like a much better podcast when it comes to like, you know, the right sensibilities and shit. But that's not what I'm in it for. I don't care if they be wrong. So I'm listening to the Hotspot because I'm just like, I know they're gonna say some wild shit.
And that's why I press play.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, that podcast is so funny. I love that New York is trying to pass the law to force Chick-fil-A to stay open at rest stops on Sundays. There's nothing worse than driving on a holiday or weekend for hours on a freeway or toll road with limited options only to have everything be closed. This happened to us on Christmas Day, driving from Taos to Albuquerque and having no place to get anything to eat. But I'm guessing that if they do pass the law, our Christo-fascist Supreme Court will strike it down with some Hobby Lobby freedom of religious bullshit. Yeah, I'm sure. When I heard the story about the movie poster, all I could think of was Michael Rappaport responding, "I'm not like the rest of you Negroes," right? Absolutely. I want to hear it in his voice. Really enjoyed the episode with JL Calvin. As always, it seems to me there was a pretty obvious through line between the discussion of MAGA voters and the restorative justice crowd and Ray Rice. As you noted, both groups are seemingly impervious to acknowledging reality and changing their views accordingly. They both operate primarily based on their own feelings. All evidence, change, and growth be damned. It really isn't all just vibes. Cheers, John. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, that stuff always sticks out to me. I know it's probably some type of I don't know, like I forget what it's called, but this vigilance thing that different people have where you just see hypocrisy or you see certain things that don't connect, and it's like, what the fuck? I definitely got that, whatever that is. So I just always end up noticing like, wait a minute, but if you say this, how the fuck you gonna live this out in their ideals? And I know the answer is that people are human and we fall short and we say stuff and don't really mean it, but I don't know. It could be a little frustrating.
All right, y'all. That's it. Thanks for listening. We'll be back throughout the week.
We will.
We appreciate y'all. Hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for leaving feedback. Pilani, thank you for the refrigerator. Kara's gonna put all her beauty stuff in it. I'm gonna put some 6 packs of beer in there. No, I'm just kidding. All right, y'all. Talk to you later. Until then, I love you.
I love you too. Mwah.
Bye, everybody.